Hi everybody, we're back and we've got, as promised, some IPL folk here. We got Josh and Tim.
How's it going, man?
And they are now going to make me look really bad. If you guys were watching it, it must have been kind of painful for you to see me, out of practice guy play Starcraft. I feel your pain.
What? Didn't do too bad, man. I mean, what were you playing on? What difficulty?
Normal.
Normal?
Which I'm definitely gonna go back and play on brutal, but I'm normal to start with.
You just started this morning then?
Yeah.
So you had the hand holding the first few missions.
Yeah.
This is what a drone is.
Yeah.
This is how you mine minerals.
I managed to drop the ball on. I imagine you guys probably played some last night.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit at midnight. Of course.
Of course. No, I managed to miss one of the shuttles on that mission. I managed to forget. Oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But other than that, I haven't had any trouble.
That's good.
Are you at least enjoying it?
Yeah.
I naturally, I've always been a multiplayer guy. I came from Halo and whatnot. Went into StarCraft and started playing multiplayer immediately. I only played Wings of Liberty campaign 5%, legit. I got into the Heart of the Swarm, dude, and I was on there for 3 hours straight. And I wanted to keep playing. Unfortunately, I had the show today, so I wanted to be somewhat coherent today. But it's sick. I'm enjoying it so much.
Yeah. So far so good. A couple of the early missions were, it felt a little bit too easy.
Yeah.
And considering it's an expansion pack,
Right.
it's like why do they need to walk me through the super easy stuff? It feels a little bit like a waste of time. But
yeah,
It's
I don't
possible.
know.
It's possible there's some first-time players, I guess, or maybe even because Wings of Liberty was the first iteration that in the Heart of the Swarm expansion, maybe they're assuming that some players only played Terran during Wings of Liberty because that's
true.
what the campaign was. But
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Brood War in the first StarCraft, they had all 3 races on there, and so you kind of have the tutorial set up to go ahead and play like that, but it's essentially a new game to some people.
or could be.
Yeah, I know yesterday on the actual StarCraft announcement stream or anything, there was 125K viewers, and usually we're only hitting about 50, 60K when it comes to multiplayer, so there's a lot of new people that could be showing up. So yeah, it's a little bit easy, but I can see why they did it, but
Right.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited for it all together. I want to finish it tonight.
I'm just curious how you only got 5% of the Wings of Liberty campaign.
I'm just not a campaign guy.
Man.
The last campaign that I actually played legit on Xbox was BioShock. That was the
BioShock.
last campaign I actually played. I just love multiplayer. I love jumping in and beating people in games.
Yep.
So guys, let's get into the game.
Let's
Sure,
do it, man.
no problem.
Let's do it. All right. Well, it looks like we're going to start explaining to you exactly what multiplayer is. There's a few options immediately. As you can see, there's a campaign, but underneath we have matchmaking, we have custom games, we have arcade and replays. All these really benefit the longevity of the game, if you will. Matchmaking, pretty self-explanatory. They've actually ramped it up a little bit here. We have training mode versus AI, unranked and ranked, and it's kind of the pillars, the way you go down it to get into the game. With training, you actually start off, you can have a 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, but when you start playing it at this level, it's actually on the normal game speed, if I remember correctly.
Right.
When you get to ranked, it ramps up to faster game speed. The game's very quick. So starting out in normal allows you to get your build orders down, play the game at a slower speed. It's pretty cool, and I enjoy that they have 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, because you can essentially have a lot of fun there.
Yeah, and I mean they just added some of this matchmaking just to make things a little bit easier for people to just get into a game. If you're a brand new player, their old system was a little clunky with actually how you find other players to play with. If you just want to play against the computer, but you want to play with your friends at the same time, making custom games is a little tricky now. It's just really simple. You just make a party and pick whichever one you're set for. Unranked is still kind of the new feature where if you want to off-race, let's say you play Zerg as your main, but every once in a while you want to practice Terran, something like that, but not affect your ladder ranking because you know you're going to be terrible. Basically, your Terran's not up to snuff where your Zerg is. So you can play these unranked matchmaking games and get basically a separate ranking that doesn't matter for anything, and it's just essentially just practice. But
It's an
against
unranked rank.
Yeah,
it is.
It's awesome. That's one of the things that a lot of people kind of play the campaign and they fall off StarCraft. They don't play the multiplayer because it used to be so daunting in Wings of Liberty because you had ranked and that was it. And people don't like losing when it takes away from them. They lose points.
Right.
You feel like you've done something wrong. So it's really cool that they put in training versus AI and then unranked just so you can move your way up. Versus AI is great. The features, let's see if we can actually start up one. I actually haven't done it versus AI.
So in Heart of the Swarm, I do know that they actually added this toward the ends of Wings of Liberty as well. You can actually choose your computer opponent's build orders, where it used to be just easy, medium, hard, insane, or whatever it is. Now you can actually choose what race they are, their color, obviously, but then also, you can have them do a rush every time, so you can practice your early game defense. You can have them do straight to air, so you can practice, being prepared in ranked games when people are going to be hitting you with Banshees and Mutas all the time. So he's going to go ahead and enter a lobby, add an AI player. You can see just what I was talking about there. Full rush, timing attack, aggressive. And this is really cool that Blizzard decided to script these different AIs instead of just, this is the easy AI, it's going to do the same thing every single time. Now you can have a mix and match and be more focused on what you want to practice against.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely will be using that in the future because there are a couple strategies that I'm kind of lacking on, especially against like any muta play or any type of Oracle harassment. Oh my gosh, the Oracle's in multiplayer for Protoss, so darn strong. So would like to learn against that in terms of defending it and whatnot, and so eventually I'll tweak those and start to use it to my advantage. But it's really easy for new players to come in and say, you know what, very easy, I just want to know what it's like to be rushed and ranked, because you will get rushed a lot, especially at the lower levels. So you can definitely start up a game and then just learn how to defend it. So again, awesome little feature put up by Blizzard. So
another thing that is basically newly added to Heart of the Swarm, we've got groups and clan channels. Have you messed with any of that functionality yet?
A couple here and there. I don't think I've actually created one quite yet.
Let's see if we can figure out how to create an IPL group, for example.
All right, so if we want to do, we'll make an IGN group. So we'll go ahead and create a group here. You essentially go to create, you have your group, you're going to enter your name, we'll put IGN Dan. And if you guys want to join the group, you're more than welcome to. And maybe later on we'll do some custom games if we have some time to play with you guys. It'll be a lot of fun. And you can just put whatever you want to put in here. Online communication, strategy and coaching. We're going to say we're pro leagues.
There's a casters and personalities channel type, a group type. That's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I have not seen that before.
I definitely want to be a personality.
Schools, companies, I like that. That's actually really neat.
Yeah.
I know that Evil Geniuses actually last night at the midnight release their pro team, and they actually set up a group for fans of theirs to come and chat with the players every once in a while. So it seems like they're going to keep that as an ongoing thing for players to interact with their favorite pros and things like that. So groups really are a nice step up from what we had, which was just channels. Just
essentially.
Unregulated, channels could fill up with 100 people and just, you wouldn't get a chance to get in or whatever it is.
And they were also unmodded as well. So you would get people who would like to spam and cause a lot of action. And now with these groups, you actually have someone who can mod it and keep people out and have a friendly community for yourself.
Which is great. They had it in Brood War, a decade ago, and now it's back in this iteration. I think it's pretty clean looking. It looks nice. So at least there's that. And you can change it to clan as well. And I believe the rest of the parameters change a little bit if you do that. Yeah. So it's literally just your clan name, which our clan name is going to be IGN Dan right now, but you can pick a tag for it so that anyone who joins this clan, when they play on the ladder in the ranked matches and stuff like that, it'll say IGN Dan, Monster Killer, or whatever the guy's name is, which is kind of neat.
We'll go ahead and make it a group then. IGN Dan, our tag will be IGN Dan. If you guys want to join, you're more than welcome to. Just hop on the multiplayer, and later on we'll play some arcade games with you. It'll be a lot of fun. So go ahead and create that, and now you can see in the front, it says IGN Dan, and I have IGN Dan Robin in front of me. I'm officially on his team. He pays me a salary every 2 weeks of $200 and unlimited energy drinks. So thank you very much, Dan.
IGN Dan is a day one clan, so looking forward to
we will rise to the top within months.
Domination.
That's right. So that's essentially that. Of course, you can put up little news posts here, create a news post.
For your clan.
Yep.
So anytime, if I join IGN Dan and I sign on, this will probably just flash at me. Say, hey guys, we're practicing at 8 p.m. or whatever it is, or check out this link, Husky cast my game, something like that. So that's pretty cool. And basically, it had none of this in Wings of Liberty. So this is all brand new stuff that people have been asking for a long time. So it's great that Blizzard has answered some of the cries for channels and clans and groups and things like that.
So what are some of these things that you guys are most excited about?
Well, the clan groups are really cool overall. I'm just a dude that loves multiplayer like crazy, so I enjoy ranked to a degree. And one of the great things here is, first off, joining into rank, I'll get into promotional series and then I'll just level up. This is what I just love at the core of the game is multiplayer. So I'm really excited for this because one, Blizzard themselves are going to start implementing maps every season. Maps are a big thing in the esports community. So that's what I'm really excited about, just in terms of the matchmaking side. And then also as well, when you look into replays, the replays are awesome. Let's go ahead and hop into those really quick.
Definitely some nice changes made on the Spectator client itself. We're both casters for Starcraft, so that's really important to us to be able to follow all the action. They've added little things like whenever a nuke is about to go off in a multiplayer game, it'll actually have a little icon on the mini-map, so the caster can very quickly, not miss any action. Nidus worms have little icons now. There's tons of just Spectator tools available to us now that we didn't have in Wings of Liberty.
Well, unfortunately right now I don't have actually replays on the computer, so if you want we can do a ranked 1v1 real quick and then we can go to the replay features after.
Let's jump on in.
Oh, let's go ahead and return to the lobby here.
One must play before one can replay.
That's right.
That's definitely right.
Very true.
Philosophical on you.
Well, I apologize in advance for any horrible play that you're about to see from me.
Or rage.
Rage. I am a mean person, I will say that.
Now we have had some questions, before you guys were around, and we weren't really, authoritative enough to answer them. Can you run down a couple of the new Zerg units and tell us how they're going to change the game?
Let's see. This is ZVZ. We'll see if I'll be able to get to that. Some of the things, mutas have been changed or a little bit quicker. They accelerate quicker. They have mana regeneration that is really sped up as well. So if you get them out of combat, you can get their health back, which is really great because some of the units, Terran, is kind of OP right now to where they will destroy you if you don't pay attention. So really just focusing on that. Swarm Host is a new unit as well. It's a kind of a sieging unit. Really, really cool to play. You have to go to Lair Tech, get Infestation Pit to even do that. But essentially it's for sieging. It's free energy that you can spend on somebody and kind of wear them down over time, which is it's pretty cool. It hasn't really found its place quite yet in competitive play overall, but it's definitely a nice concept that we're waiting to see. And then the other unit is the Viper, which is a Hive Tech unit. It's pretty stellar in terms of getting engagements on your side. You can pull Colossi, Battle Cruisers, anything to your army and just decimate them really quickly and then follow
it just pulls guys that are they want to keep in the back. It pulls them to the front where you can hit them.
It's just like Scorpion, get over here. Right. You can have several Vipers, 10 or so, flying over, and when you do the first big engagement, you just go ahead and grab all their Colossi, Immortals, Thors, whatever their big units are, so that they're not safe in the back just shelling away at you. You just pull them right into the thick of it and destroy them. You mentioned Swarm Hosts earlier, and we played a couple of games in the beta where Swarm Hosts really can deter someone from dropping into your base with medevacs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? You're changing
some of my controls. PP, by the way, is pause. It's pause, what you say in order to slam it. He didn't respond, but he hasn't really gone too crazy about it. So I'm going to change some settings real quick so I can actually play the game. The mouse is really slow for me, unfortunately.
And this is another aspect of competitive play, of course. You have to have all your settings exactly how you're used to playing, or it just feels like a totally different game. It throws you off way too much. So this is totally understandable. Any player who's serious about multiplayer is going to be doing all this stuff. But yeah, the Swarm Host you mentioned earlier really makes dropping hard. Early game defense is kind of tough because they're a little slow to get out. They're kind of just too slow to really depend on them to defend your base. So you still have to do spine crawlers and things like that and get all your queens up and running. But Vipers, they're, like you said, Hive Tech, so you're not going to see them until late game, and they really can be a game changer there. Another great thing about Vipers is they're a casting unit. They can cast a blinding cloud on just a small area of the map, and any ranged units that are caught underneath it suddenly are only able to do melee range. So you can basically blind them, forget about them, because they're not doing anything to you while you're outside of it. Another thing is, after they've yanked a bunch of guys and blinded a bunch of guys, they can come back home and actually drain energy back to themselves to be able to cast more spells from your buildings. And it still does deplete their health, the building health.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll
trading consume it, you'll get energy.
You're trading building health for energy right now. Zerg buildings, of course, are organic, as you can tell from this, hatchery here, and they slowly regenerate health over time anyway. So, you bring your Vipers back, you drain a little here, a little there, and eventually everyone will be back to full.
I saw a few pro matches or high-level matches where people were expanding their creep and then building an Evo chamber out in the middle of no man's land just so they could feed off of it.
Yeah, that's totally viable. You can drop creep with your overlords and just build whatever so that you have basically a fueling station for your Vipers. I mean, that's a little dramatic. You probably won't see that too much just because Vipers are an expensive unit, and to basically change your strategy just to accommodate them is usually going to take a lot of time and effort. That you could just be building bigger armies and stuff like that.
It's a very late game eccentric strategy, but it's very good. It's just, again, you have to get to the late game to do it. At that point, you don't really want to throw resources away too early to get it away. And also, you don't want to get to Hive Tech too quickly. But yeah, it's really strong to do.
All right, so
oh my God, I can't
right
click.
now, he's misclicking slightly, but he's got a Zerg opponent down in the bottom right of the map. He knows he's there because it's just a 2-player map. He's gone ahead and sent his overlords to positions that he knows that the enemy player is going to be sending lings or scouts or whatever, so he can keep an eye on his movement. Now he's sending his first wave of lings in. He did not see what that building was, so I'm not 100% sure. Was that a spine crawler already going?
Yeah, I can't click anything.
What's wrong with you?
My keyboard.
The keyboard's slightly
so
bigger.
different to mine. I play on a skill series. It's a very small keyboard.
That's true.
So kind of slacking for you guys.
Really fun. So is this just a placement match that you jumped into?
Yeah, it's just a placement match.
Did you win your first two?
Yes, I did. I was playing earlier at work.
Okay, so you could be playing someone around gold level, I would imagine, if you won your first two placements. So the placement matches, you start with 5 placement matches in multiplayer for 1v1 and 2v2 and 3v3. Anything that you're playing for the first time or with a new player, like if you and I played 2v2, Dan, we would have to do some placement matches, and then if I wanted to play 2v2 with Tim, we'd have to do 5 more. So
that's the same as in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. But just in case anyone is new to the scene, I know Wings of Liberty came out 3 years ago, so you know maybe some kids in high school didn't have pocket change back then, and now they can actually play. Yeah, basically you do these placement matches. They'll drop you in a division. There's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, and grandmaster. Do you know if the grandmaster ladder is already kicked off?
What's that?
The grandmaster ladder for Heart of the Swarm.
So.
I think sometimes they schedule it a couple days later, so they give people enough time to play some matches. But banelings are about to attack Tim. He's gonna walk right into them.
Yeah,
ridiculous. But I mean. That wasn't that great for you, Tim.
With the hotkeys, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the queen that Tim had there could have tanked both of those, and he didn't really need to lose all his lings. I don't want to be too critical of him while he's playing right next to me.
Yeah, I'm like failing horrendously
when we're casting games, obviously the players, they're hundreds of miles away from us. They're not watching the stream, so we can say whatever we want. We can criticize them, but when the guy's sitting right here, this is.
Yeah, I'm so dead.
Oh, it's easy.
I can't get the hotkeys at all.
It's okay, man.
We're gonna blame it on that.
Yeah. Spence Masta seems to have a pretty good Baneling build already prepared here. I don't know how you're gonna deal with those last two though. Oh, and then he just blows them up on the hatch race. Actually, he gave you a chance to try to recover here because he didn't kill any of his wings. Let's see. Oh, but
many
Zerglings. The
Zerglings.
Banelings. Unfortunately, I think this hatch is done for. I'm not sure what Tim's going to be able to do here. He's got a Roach Warren up, so he could start building some roaches. He's got some resources piling up as well, but no larva left. So that's another drawback of Zerg. You basically have to have larva to be able to build anything, unlike Terran or Protoss. He's having to pull drones. This is scary. Yeah, Tim knows at this point that he's lost his hatchery. His opponent's economy is still going strong over at that natural, and now it's basically desperation.
Yeah.
I don't know what his recourse is at this point. But
we're gonna make it work.
A lot of Banelings morphing right there at the top of the ramp. Even if he doesn't kill the Zerglings here, he can just roll right up and take out either a spawning pool or the Roach Warren or any drones that happen to be left.
I gotta imagine that the people that are doing their placement matches right now are the people that are really good.
Not necessarily, because it is launch day.
You're right. Everyone's kind of playing right now.
Yeah. Launch day, like the people that are not playing the campaign are the people that are serious about multiplayer.
That's true. That's a good point.
I actually could have won that game, and so we can do that with the replay. It's just unfortunately I kept screwing up my hotkeys. So I had like 800 minerals, which is like really bad in a multiplayer scenario because you're floating essentially free units.
Right.
So
do we want to talk about this screen actually?
Yeah, this is actually really cool too.
This is new.
This is new as well. This is experience. Essentially, you level up through the multiplayer. I think you get up to level 60. I think I got to like level 40 in the beta. But you essentially level up, and it just allows you to get experience. It's a nice little feature. It shows progress, and there's also
you get rewards.
Yeah, man.
Okay, guys,
portraits.
Actually, before we get into that, I'm behind on the multiplayer Twitter questions here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, let's do it.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been enraptured watching your game.
It's okay. It's all good. Let's do it, man.
All right. So HC Hand Guide asks, how far do you feel the changes to the Zerg multiplayer-wise, or how do you feel about the changes to Zerg multiplayer-wise so far?
There hasn't been too many changes, as mentioned. The Swarm Host and the mid game has been changed a little bit for Zerg. They have the Hydralisks, which are a little bit faster now because of an upgrade that you can do, and then you have Swarm Host, and then of course you have the late game Viper. But overall, really the big changes are to Terran and Protoss. Their early game, they are very harass heavy. It used to be in Wings of Liberty, you could open up with a 15 hatchery, which meant on a 15 drone, you would open up with the hatchery and go for a very heavy expansion build. You can't really do that against Terran now, because the Reapers have been changed to put aggression on you. So Zerg right now is kind of learning, so we seem kind of weak right now. We look at tournaments and Zergs are just getting crushed and they're whining about it, because that's what we do best. until we win. So
Until we win.
Until we win. Right now, we're trying to figure out things and are trying to react to the new strategies. And so I think it's for the better. We just need a couple more months to evolve because Zerg is a reactionary race. We have to know what strategies are, and then once we identify them, we destroy them.
Yeah.
So
well, I think another big part of it is that Terran and Protoss both have these new units that are very, very specific. They do one thing really well.
Yeah.
And Swarm Hosts, we're still trying to figure out what is the one thing that they do really, really well. Widow Mines, we know it's blow everything up. Like, it's really obvious for the other races, but things like Viper already has some nice use. All you have to do is yank the big units, and you're already at an advantage. Swarm Hosts is just kind of clunky still, and the first time Stefano or some great Zerg player figures out a great Swarm Host build, they're going to use it in a tournament. Everyone's going to watch and freak out, and then they're all going to use it on the ladder for the next 2 or 3 weeks until something else comes along.
Yeah, right now the biggest changes that you're seeing that are starting to work a little bit is we're seeing Swarm Hosts and Hydras using the mid game, which is something that was never really done because Hydralisks were really slow in Wings of Liberty. You needed a lot of creep spread to get them across the middle of the map. They were just too weak. They died very quickly. So we're starting to see Swarm Hosts because they'll siege, and then the Hydras are there to really defend them against any anti-air, and they're actually a pretty strong composition right now. So it's really decent against mech, Swarm Host, because mech again takes time to siege up and move across the middle of the map, so you can kind of just wither them down as they come to your base. But again, guys, we're just waiting for multiplayer to kind of evolve right now because everything's just it's a big blender. Everything's been thrown in, and stuff is just spurting out.
And by the time anybody figures anything out, Blizzard will put out their first patch.
Probably.
Probably. We'll see. Hopefully we get
well, that's the trick there is, if you think Swarm Host is weak right now, figure out that really good build for them for when they get a buff, and then just go crazy.
and destroy everybody. BGSL champion.
Our next question asker is also a winner. They just won won a copy of Heart of the Swarm.
Congratulations.
This is Feats Grande, and asks which race got the most out of Heart of the Swarm.
I feel like Protoss did. Yeah. To be honest, they were very passive in Wings of Liberty. They kind of just got wrecked in a lot of tournaments. They had to kind of sit back for a little bit, get off a 2-base push timing, or wait for a 3-base and go for an all-in, or they just sit back forever until they got like a mothership. Now they have really early game harassment available to them. They can open up Stargate, which is something that you would never really see in tournament play because you would just die to essentially a roach all in. And now they have a huge aggression available to them with an Oracle. An Oracle, if not tamed well, can kill 18 to 20 Harvesters, which will put a Zerg very behind. So I feel like Protoss has gotten a lot of early game harassment. They got a nice amount of decent units, and they're very strong right now. So they definitely got the best out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Just to play devil's advocate, I would say that Terran did get a lot of great stuff. I think Medevac Boost is probably the craziest new thing that is going to just make a difference in so many situations where players are coming in to drop Marines in their enemy base. Mutalisks show up, suddenly you just pop back in the medevac and boost away as long as you can. But, when I was playing the beta, I didn't even know I could do that, and my teammates were screaming at me, but I thought that was a pretty nifty thing to be able to save that last SCV or siege tank that you need or whatever it is. You can just get out of there, and that's awesome for them. Of course, they do have the Battle Hellions, which are now the Hellbats.
So good.
They're pretty ridiculous too, even though they've been nerfed a few times, and they're still really, really good. So.
Yeah,
everyone's getting nice things. It's like Christmas.
And the good thing for Zerg is we've gotten the campaign. So
yeah,
if we had the units that are in campaign right now, Zerg would be completely broken. Like, I'm having so much fun with those units. It's ridiculous. But
what's your favorite from the campaign so far?
I enjoy the Zerglings jumping. I actually chose the one that replicates because I think it's really good with Kerrigan's passive. That when the Zerglings die, they respawn immediately from the hatchery. So. I love that unit, the one that jumps up, but I went for the easier one that destroys everything.
The Swarmlings?
The strength in numbers one. Yeah, it's just less micro, basically, and you have an advantage all the time instead of having to focus like actual actions on it.
Yeah.
How are you guys finding the campaign? Is it challenging? I assume you're playing on Brutal.
I just did it for normal because, again, I'm not a campaign guy, so I just wanted to beat it really quickly to get the story out because I'm actually enjoying the story for the first time. But I'm loving it. Like I said, Wings of Liberty, played 5% of it, didn't really care that much because I don't play Terran. It was more about the multiplayer for me. So like I said, the last game that I actually played a campaign was BioShock, and then Halo. Halo was the other one because I used to play Halo semi-professionally. So like, I don't know. I'm loving it. It's got me hooked, so that's a good thing, right?
You'll finish it at least.
Yeah.
Maybe if you do finish it, you'll go back and play on Brutal.
I'll think about it.
That's what I'm planning to do because when the game first comes out, spoilers are everywhere.
Right.
So I just want to breeze through it, normal, whatever, kill everything, see the story, see the cinematics, and then I can just go back on Brutal and get all the rest of the achievements and stuff like that whenever I'm ready to play. But me and him, we're both multiplayer guys, so we're gonna do the campaign as quick as we can and jump right into the ladders.
Right. So why don't you show off this this replay feature?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll watch replay solo because unfortunately I'm the only one here. Lonely day. Gonna go ahead and load it up. And we watched this yesterday during the actual Starcraft launch. They had 2 pros, Suppy and Vi, play, and it was a best of 3 essentially of one game where they would just have a situation where an engagement happened really bad for one player, and they said, okay, do you want to go back to that? And we'll replay it out, and that player will wind up winning it again. It just shows that mistakes are really, really huge with that high level of play. And I actually haven't played with this before, to be honest with you. Take command. This is the option right here. You'll go ahead and...
Do you want to take control of the guy who won? Would that be better for you?
Yeah, man, we'll make him lose. That's what we'll
make
do.
him lose, yeah.
We'll
We'll blow
cheat
up all his Banelings.
So we'll go ahead and choose.
Get some
Revisionist history.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that. Do none, and we will go ahead and start game.
That's
here.
hilarious. Well, you already won, so that's
Won already. Nice. Oh, whoops! I hit score screen. GG. GG.
Hang on, we'll get this right eventually.
Yeah, I actually haven't played around with this yet, so.
Yeah, this in the beta, was it even in the beta? I feel like they
It was in the
announced
beta,
it
yeah.
late.
It was played for a couple weeks. Everyone was raving about it. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to 10 pull everybody. So let's go ahead and switch this up to Robin, and then none.
I'm curious.
And let's go ahead and start game.
So who's taking over for?
There we go.
Who's taking over for your side? Is
No
it
one.
AI?
AI will do it.
So AI picks up. It's not just like an empty base with drones mining endlessly.
We'll see. Why don't we drone rush them? We'll find out.
Find out how the replacement Robin can actually battle against these drones.
I think you do need 2 players, and honestly, to do it. You can watch the replay as a group now, so you get 2 people to join in.
That's true. So if we're playing a 2v2 game, Tim and I, we can like lose a match, go back into the replay, watch it together, discuss what we should have tried differently, and then just hop back in and act it out to make sure we've got the right idea. The great thing, actually, the resume replay is super duper important. We haven't even mentioned this yet, is because there is no LAN mode in Heart of the Swarm. So when you're on, you're always online. You're never just a direct connection, TCP/IP, any of that old stuff. Blizzard doesn't believe in it because of obviously anti-piracy measures and things like that. Right. And that's totally understandable, but what would end up happening is you'd have these very, oh yeah, so no AI. If you play by yourself, it just, it just lets you say a what if, basically.
Right.
But there's no AI. He said, wow, you're really killing him, Tim. You're so impressive. But back to the LAN mode thing, we'd have these high-level tournaments where there would be someone kicks the internet cord, or the power goes out, or whatever it is, and you have this super long debate about, oh man, this guy was slightly ahead, he was definitely going to win, and the other side's like, no, you can't say definitely ever because people make mistakes. We have to regame, and it's just a big pain in the butt for everybody. So now we can actually literally go right back into what was happening. As long as the replay gets saved, as long as the computer doesn't explode or something like that, we'll have a replay that we can resume from and just get everyone set back exactly where they were. Admins or whoever's running the tournament can determine exactly where to start from, and we don't have that problem anymore of saying, what if the internet didn't go out?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not Blizzard saying, okay, you're right, you can have LAN play,
right?
But it's
a workaround.
It's a stopgap solution for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a bad one too, because
and it's also a really cool feature.
Yeah, you get to do other great fun stuff with it. So definitely kudos to Blizzard on that feature.
Yeah, it's really positive for pro players. Like there's this guy named Parting. He's a super strong Century Immortal timing push player. He's really good at it. He never loses, it seems like. He can essentially do one replay for his team, doing that push, and then he can go push across the middle of the map, do his push, whatever, and say, okay, now you guys have fun with this. And they can jump in at any point and learn how to play just like he did without having to do the build over and over again. It saves so much time. So really cool replay feature.
Let's go back. The replay feature, again, is amazing. I just want to look again at the experience stuff because you're basically getting experience for spending resources, killing enemies. You get a game length bonus, so it looks like Blizzard is actually encouraging, not just rushing every single game.
Yeah.
You can play 1,000 games rushing to get to level 10, or you can play 100 real games and get to the same place. So they're trying to encourage people to use the new units, play these slightly longer games so that you can level up faster. And the rewards are things like portraits that your friends can see, people in chat rooms can see. You can get little icons for your buildings that are displayed around your hatchery or command center or whatever it is. They're there you see those, and he's going to unlock more as he
won
plays.
this one.
That's the first one that he unlocked.
I owned that one, man.
So there's a ton there, as you can see. You can level up each race individually. There's more achievements for leveling up each race individually, and eventually the cool thing that they just unveiled a couple of weeks ago is you get unit skins. So I don't want to say a la League of Legends, but basically a la League of Legends. If you play enough of one race, you'll eventually unlock these skins so that in every game you play, even like custom arcade games, if you're building pylons, they're going to be this cool otherworldly looking pylon, Marines, all these things change shape in game. So it's a cool way to indicate to everyone, I'm really cool, I played a billion games of Zerg, and now I get this to show for it. You can do it too if you just do it as well.
Yeah, just makes a game within a game essentially. Eventually I want to unlock all this stuff.
So it's an extra progression mechanic.
Yeah, it's like carrot on a string when you're plodding along on ranked games. Maybe you lose 3 or 4 games and you're like, I don't want to play anymore, but I'm so close to level 12, let me just do one more. It's actually just great, and really, I mean, every game, worth its salt is basically doing this stuff now. So, it's great that Blizzard has caught on that people want this kind of thing.
Yeah, you also get some really cool dancings. Yeah, that you can unlock as well. It's incentive to play Terran or Protoss. Like I said, I'm a Zerg guy only, but if I can get some awesome skins or an awesome dance on a mule, I'm gonna play a couple games. I'm gonna learn a build order or two. So
we've got another question here. This is 50 feet from home. Asks, what's the best strategy you have to contain Protoss right now?
Well, again, Swarmhost is a strategy that's kind of working right now.
Yeah.
First off, you just need to play really defensive early on. You can do 15 hatchery pretty decently against Protoss without having really many problems unless they rush you. It's just a matter of you following up and making sure that you're scouting and you're finding out whether or not they have a Stargate on the way or anything. Because if an Oracle comes your way, your best defense is literally just getting away from the area that the Oracle shows up into and having a couple of extra queens. In Wings of Liberty, queens were kind of something that you didn't have. Popping out too much is kind of a waste of supply. They didn't really work out too much until late game against Protoss. So now you can open up with 3 to 4 queens and be pretty relatively safe against an Oracles. An Oracles does a lot of damage, but it doesn't take damage very well. So that's a pretty strong strategy you can do against it. Just your best strategy is being on top of what they're doing, essentially reacting like you're supposed to.
Yes, and keeping your eyes on the skies is always safe against Protoss, because anything
Overlords,
anything
so
that
big.
you're building, is going to give you extra scouting information anyway. So definitely just scouting. Scouting is huge. Zerg has been notoriously kind of weak in Wings of Liberty on scouting because Overlords are so slow. But now they're a decent clip. They can move around the map pretty easily, and you just have to be aware of those of the units that Tim was talking about, the Oracle. But,
Actually, I wanted to show you, speaking of that, with Overlords, which are really, really important against Oracles. I was going to pull up this map if I can real quick, and to show you some simple spots that you can look at if you really wanted to. Let's find just a regular Daybreak. This one will work. All right, so we'll load it up, and then I'll pull up the little microscope, and I'll just show you the spots. You put a couple of Overlords up, and you literally cannot lose to your opponent.
Did you say you literally cannot lose if you
can't
put
lose.
these Overlords in
Yep,
these spots?
that's right.
All right, that's
Can't
the
do
Tim
it.
guarantee.
All right, so we'll load it up,
Robin.
and then I'm just gonna go ahead and just show you the spots real quick, 3 or 4 of them that are really important for you for early game. And then again, if you get past the mid game, you get to your third, you can start moving to Swarm Host, kind of containing your opponent. So. Again, if you really ever want to learn real legit strategies, you can always watch the pro streams. We're going to have some pros on pretty soon from Team Root and Team Complexity. One of those pros is CatZ. CatZ is freaking awesome when it comes down to just being all over the place and doing unorthodox strategies, but still winning.
Yeah.
So Overlords, again, this unit, very important. Your opponent will always spawn down here in the bottom left when it comes to
Daybreak.
playing on this map.
Yeah.
Yep, on Daybreak. So one key point, you can have an Overlord here, you can have an Overlord as well back here at the natural. And around 6:30, maybe even a little bit earlier, you want to send a scout, and at that point, the tech will be coming out for Protoss, especially on one base. You'll definitely have some one base all-ins coming your way. So send an Overlord in and start to get an idea of what they're going for. If they're falling up into a Stargate, you essentially just throw down a Spore Crawler immediately in the middle of your mineral line, you get a couple of queens produced, and you just keep an eye on the mini-map by keeping the Zelnagas. Pretty easy for you. Another Overlord spot right here, defensive Overlord right here in the top left. Also one down here in the bottom right. Again, just really simple. 4 Overlords can literally save your life if you just pay attention.
Because the Oracles, they won't even be attacking the Overlords. They'll be gunning it straight for your mineral line.
Yes.
So as long as you have that vision around your base, you'll be pretty much good to go.
Don't be afraid to lose queens as well. If the Oracle is using its energy to attack your queens, it's essentially a free trade for you. You're losing a unit, but you're saving all your drones, which over time is better for you. So don't freak out too much if you lose queens, just build another one.
And let's see, Stijo.
Is that one of mods?
No, yeah. He like mods every stream chat in the world. Guy's goofy. He's from Sweden. Love the guy. What's going on, Stijo?
He's asking, let's see, so far, what's the best thing about multiplayer in Heart of the Swarm that didn't exist in Wings of Liberty?
From a tournament, tournament running standpoint, it's definitely resumed from replay because that's just the subject of so much heartache at professional events. Even our events, IPL 4, we had the GSTL finals and had a disconnect that people will be remembering forever. They, Team Liquid called it one of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
And it's notoriously scarred by this.
Very infamous because of that. On the tournament side, on the tournament side, certainly the watch from replay, I agree. But I also like kind of the casual approach as well. The arcade has been really revamped overall to really cater to the audience. In Wings of Liberty, they had a nice little arcade, but it was clunky. It didn't really get focused on. It kind of let the community die out because no one ever really played on it. Because when it comes down to it, Starcraft is a really hard game to play on a multiplayer basis. You want to be able to relax and play with your team. Or play with your friends essentially on a team game or anything. And so they've started to spotlight games really heavily. They started putting a lot more focus on it, which I think is really great for the multiplayer in terms of just, I don't mean to say like casuals, like I'm a casual player, because when it comes down to it, not all of us are pros, and we hate losing on ladder. So these games are really, really fun that they've created over here. They have a top 10 as well. Squadron Tower Defense is fantastic. Been playing that. Nexus Wars is so fun, man.
Nexus Wars is so old school.
That's been around for a while, and it's one of those games that everyone is playing. One game that this guy is stupid good at is Star Jeweled. It's essentially Bejeweled for StarCraft.
You build energy, and then you build energy by making matches, and eventually you can basically create units with that energy as if they were minerals and gas, and you just flood the other guy and take out his Nexus or whatever it is. But there's a lot of great games on the arcade. New games popping up all the time. Blizzard is doing a better job now. They were always doing a pretty good job, but they're doing a better job now at actually highlighting everything. So I think what we're going to do now is actually have you go back and maybe, is that your last placement match that we've got to do for you still?
I've got two more.
Let's do one.
Let's hop in one and
I need a better
show
keyboard,
some
man.
more gameplay.
Okay.
we could probably swap this keyboard over if you want.
I think
that's too much work. We'll just do it. That's okay.
You'll be okay.
I'm gonna cry about it. If I lose, it's the keyboard's fault. That's hashtag keyboard
All right.
fault.
Well, I'm gonna coach you and criticize you.
Let's bring up the wrist here.
And hopefully you're not facing a
Look at
Zerg.
this is how much I played StarCraft last night.
Yeah, you got
I usually don't
your nerd mark.
play as much. I watch a lot of VODs because again I cast a lot. So I don't normally just play, and I sat for 3 hours straight and just played campaign. I actually got a little bit of a blister, man.
That happens. That's a sign of a true PC player.
That's right, man.
It's a Protoss. Easy.
All right, guys.
Easy mode.
Yeah.
Paul Pierre 4 asks, in this game, which unit do you consider the best in terms of resource cost and power? Which I have a feeling I know what the answer to this is going to be.
So for which race? Any race?
He says he's just the best.
Zerg, I like Roach complemented with Hydra. I know that's kind of cheating too, but
You're cheating.
Yeah, Roach is pretty tanky and they trade pretty efficiently for the most part.
Well, I would have answered Hellbat without even pausing. Now it's a little bit tougher because they did nerf it. They made you're forced to have a tech lab now on your factory to be able to use Hellbats, so it slows you down way more than you used to be able to. So it's a little less efficient. Widow mines are pretty efficient. You're not really going to go kill your enemy with it though. It's gotta be a support kind of unit. So I mean, really, my strat, I play Terran primarily. I play all the races, but if I'm just trying to ladder, I think Terran is probably what I'm best at, so that's what I go for. Still just Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, and now you get this other unit, Hellbats, that you get to fool around with as well. So I think they're probably the most efficient for Terran. Protoss, I'm still not sure. It's kind of tough.
Protoss has a few cost-effective units. They naturally are. They're units that are very expensive, so early game you have less of them, but they are very effective if you micro them correctly.
Yeah.
I think the Oracles is very cost-effective if you get the engagements correctly. You roast drones pretty easily. They just do a nice amount of damage pretty easily if you don't defend it correctly. Been talking about that a lot. Void Rays are really strong right now.
They're still great.
They're really good now because of their newer abilities that they've been implemented in the game. Gosh, man, if you can get good 6 to 8 Void Rays with a decent army at the end of the game, you essentially just win. So, it's hard to build that up. Like, it takes time. Like, someone should try to kill you before that happens. But if you do get it up, Void Rays are really good right now.
So I will say, in addition to that I think the Tempest for Protoss, that's their new high-level air unit that replaced the carrier. They basically, I feel like they're a little bit too slow and dumb, and they've got really great range, but they really don't do a whole lot else. And from a Spectator perspective, they're really not flashy. They're just big siege units floating around. I feel like they're kind of a little underpowered, so I'd like to see Blizzard figure out maybe up their damage a little bit, make them a little more threatening. But at the moment, it's really like, oh, he's got some Tempest, I'll just kill him. Like there's not a whole lot of utility to it, and I feel like they kind of are the weakest new unit if to kind of put a spin on, what is the most efficient. I think the Tempest might be one of the least efficient, but we'll see. So Tim is facing a Protoss opponent. He's already sent his overlords up and down to those spawn locations to try and find his enemy without actually having to send any drones or Zerglings. Have you figured out where he's at? I didn't see what time that probe showed up.
I have not. I'm assuming it's cross position.
Okay,
if it's not in the top right, he's
well, I don't see any buildings yet, so it's very possible he'll be cross position. So what are you thinking for a strategy so far?
Keeping an eye on this probe right now. I'm going to start getting a couple of lings out pretty soon. Because again, like I said earlier, you need to get scouting information against Protoss. Because you need to know if they're going for Stargate or not. So I'm going to get some lings out, see if he's left a hole adjacent available in his wall off they should normally have. And then go from there. I'll start getting gas out. Let's see.
So you've already plotted out maybe the next 3 or 4 minutes, but
just
then
by scouting,
based on the information
go from there.
that you got from your overlords, and now if I'm assuming you're not going to bust him building pylons anywhere. It seems like proxy gateways have kind of died out now that Protoss has more units available to them.
Yeah.
It used to be that Protoss was either a big rush strategy, you made a ton of gateways and just tried to stomp the guy out, or you just waited until tier 3 Colossi and Phoenixes and things like that.
So on that note, we've got a question here from MC Hand Guide, asking any thoughts on potential new Protoss strategies?
New Protoss strategies, definitely, because the Oracle is so handy, you definitely want to figure out how to use that to your advantage as quick as you can. What just happened there?
No, you said that, and I totally forgot. We haven't even talked about the Mothership Core.
We haven't talked
man.
about the Mothership Core.
The Mothership Core has opened up so much early aggression so easily, man, because you can do it without punishment, really, because of recall. You can put aggression on your opponent and make sure they're not going greedy like a Zerg normally will. And you essentially, once you get the damage you want or the units created, because Zerg doesn't want to create units early, without trading, then you just recall back home, and they lose out so much. So that's a really good strategy. We've had a lot of all-ins, kind of.
It's a lot less risky for the same reward that you used to be able to get. So
there's a lot of like 6 gate 2 base all-ins with Mothership Core that's really strong right now, and that you can kind of pull back and not really be an all-in because of the recall. It's a really strong ability.
Yeah, essentially, if you're a Protoss player, if you're new to the race, just figure out what the units do, because that is a big part of it. If you use a unit for the first time and you don't really understand it, you kind of shelve it and don't revisit it, then you're limiting your play. So you definitely want to take some chances in these first few ladder games. Figure out, what can I do with this Mothership Core that's going to help me win more games? What can I do with this Oracle that will annoy my opponent and buy me more time? Whatever it is. So, like he said, a lot of strategies are just mass gateway and Mothership Core. You can do Oracle strategies with the intent of building a bigger air force. Protoss Air is pretty good right now.
Very good right now. So I did my scout about 20 seconds late, but it's going to work out because he went for a Nexus instead. So he doesn't have any real pressure on me quite yet. Again, got to be careful for that Oracle that could be coming my way. Trying to spread my creep forward. Should be having this right about here by now, but again, just playing hotkeys all day.
You're multitasking, it's fine. I don't think
I'm floating so many resources right now, like should never be doing that. So scouting his information here, he's got a couple of gateways up, he's got a Robo, which means most likely he's gonna open up with some kind of a Mortal Sentry aggression, which is what Protoss does. And I'm just gonna make a crap load of units because, oh my god, I'm supply blocked.
I was just gonna say, you might want to sink those into some Overlords and some Vespene Geysers, and I'm not sure.
I keep accidentally making Queens.
You already started a third hatch, so I wouldn't even do another sink because you're just gonna end up with even more minerals that you can't spend.
It's gonna be falling in the gas pretty quickly.
Probably get a Queen up there now that it's out.
Get a macro hatch as well. Start up an upgrade.
Macro hatch, not bad. So the hatchery within a base he's not going to be mining from it at all. It's basically just providing more larvae.
It's so beautiful, by the way. How it animates.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, Tim.
Sexy, man.
So yeah, he's got a ton of queens. He's starting all his roach production now, and his lair is just about done. What are you going to do with this lair tech now?
Gonna get roach speed.
Okay.
Pretty normal. And also as well, it's gonna allow me to have +2 as well whenever I start moving in this grade. I should have started it earlier, but again, just
are you going?
he's pushing across the
Oh, he is coming. No. He's got quite a lot of stuff.
Yep.
So based on this, he doesn't even need to really look at the units. He just knows where they're at already. So he's not going to be able to really crank anything out unique. So he just wants more units at this point. He's going to drop a couple of spine crawlers. Oh, the flashlight is lagging out. This could be your lucky day.
Yes, I'm going to win, dude. Worth it.
While we're paused here, let's see, Wes Smith wants to know any resources you guys can recommend for a noob to check out and learn more about multiplayer.
Yeah, teamliquid.net.
Yep.
I think is probably the best resource. It's essentially the hub for our esports, essentially. It's a team.
You want to type it into the... Yeah, so they can read it. There you go.
That's all you got to do. Head there. At first, it's kind of overwhelming because there is a lot of content there, a lot of stories happening, a huge amount of forums.
For 10 years. So.
Once you get there, you should immediately take your eyes and look to the right side of the screen because there is a hefty amount of streams there, and you're going to see a lot of players.
Watching pros, there are a lot of pros who do narrate all their actions.
Yes.
Axlav, who I used to live with, actually, is... Basically, he's not a tournament winner, but he's...
victory!
You win by default. Congratulations.
His army...
Go team IGN Dan.
To be honest, his army
Return
kind
the
of...
game.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm just so used to hitting score screen. Like that's what I do. I either win or lose, and I just go straight to another game.
Of course, 'cause you don't want to brood if you're losing.
I think I was going to win that engagement, to be honest with you. My +1 was really late, but his army looked really small, which means his macro may have been
Did he have an immortal
off as well.
already?
He had 3 immortals.
Okay, 3 immortals. What were you going to do about that? You were going to
pretty
get dominated.
Yeah, man, I was going to have it. I had that.
3 immortals, you had nothing but roaches
had it
and like
on
2
lock,
spines.
Let's see if this were a tournament game, then we could use the replay feature to fix it.
That's right.
So
we would call him up and be like, let's play, man. Unfortunately.
We'll speed it up and try and get back to where he actually was. And I think then we'll see if Tim would have actually died. Why don't you watch the Protoss player so we can see what he's actually...
Let's go ahead and we'll switch to his vision here. We'll slow this down so you can kind of see him going around. We can kind of describe what he's going for, actually, just by watching him. So he had a scout go out after his pylon, which is after a 9 pylon. After 9 supply, you throw out your pylon immediately. It's pretty good to have against Zerg. You want to find them very quickly first off because you want to find if they're going for some kind of aggressive play against you. 6-7 pull because, again, Zergs are known for Zerg rushing, especially at lower leagues. So you get that 9...
I've never heard that term.
Zerg
do it on Google.com. If you've never typed Zerg Rush into Google.com, do it
pretty
now.
cool. It's pretty cool. Go do it.
And I should use the Google, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You just go to Google and just type in Zerg Rush.
Google.
Yeah.
The Google.
The
Googles.
The main Googles.
The Googlings.
Did he open with a forge? Okay, so a bit of a weird opening for him because he can kind of open up pretty safely on this map because the ramp, as you can see right here.
Also keep in mind we have no idea how good this guy is. This is still a placement match. Tim is not, in his Masters of Vision yet.
Yeah.
So Flashlight literally could be a guy who just picked up the game today.
And he doesn't have a clan tag.
Yeah, he's not an IGN Dan.
He doesn't have the IGN Dan, man. That's the best one. He's actually got a really safe opening, to be honest with you. It's a forge, and then you follow up the forge into a gateway, and then a photon cannon, which holds off any type of rush that would be coming your way. I just felt like he could open up with some kind of pressure pretty easily because the ramp isn't really that big. But yeah, the idea behind this is he's gone forge, followed up into gateway, just getting a nice little wall in. You need these types of wall ins against Zerg. Or they will get lings by you, and if a good 8 to 10 lings get in it, and a good player is playing against you, he will crush your probe line because Zelts can't catch them. He'll just pop up and catch up a couple of probes, making this mining time, and literally just wither you down.
You'll eventually kill all the lings, but at a big cost. So the wall off is definitely important. That's something that every new player definitely should figure out how to do. Zerg is a little harder to actually wall off with just because they require creep for their buildings. So Zerg players are going to want to invest in a couple of spine crawlers in their base, in their mineral line, because everyone else can basically just waltz right in. Protoss and Terran players, though, you'll want to wall off that top of the ramp tight with buildings. You can see he's got a Zealot on hold position between his pylon and gateway. That's going to keep any Zerglings from getting in as well.
Yeah, you actually see that. I brought my lings up here because I finally got the scout on because this is a 4-player map, so he could have spawned here, here, or here, so I just didn't know where it was at, and my lings got there a little bit way too late.
A little bit way too late.
A little bit way too late. I just want to make it look like I made a small mistake. It was a really big one.
So there are no Terrans in here, but we've got a question from let's see, Yo Soda. What is your opinion on the siege tank no longer requiring an upgrade to go into siege mode?
It's really good for aggressive one-base play. Again, right now, as a Zerg player, I feel like I can't put any aggression on my opponent whatsoever. So again, we have photon cannons for Protoss. They can wall in pretty easily. They have really cost-effective units in the Sentry with force fields and stuff. With Terran having the siege mode out, I literally can't touch them for a while.
I have to say, I don't know why that they felt that was necessary.
The thing is a lot of players are opening up with Reactor Hellion into sometimes Reactor Widowmine as well. So what this does is they have the factory out already. They're able to fall up into a defensive stature really quickly. Because if you open up with a really aggressive roach push, 13 roaches, 14 roaches, head across the middle of the map, and they don't have a siege tank out with siege mode, they're going to die. So
that was Wings of Liberty, and I mean.
Well, that's going to be that was Wings of Liberty, and Wings of Liberty happened a lot actually.
Right.
A lot of strats. There would be a lot of. Okay, well you're going right to Hellion again. I'm just going to kill you now.
So they're
they
trying
just
to they're inserting the siege tank back into normal Terran.
They just made it easier to defend and Terran can't die. Because you're either really greedy or you're really aggressive as Terran and Wings of Liberty. And now you can kind of do both.
But now what you're saying is it's really hard to attack into that.
Yeah, it is hard as Zerg to do it.
But if that was broken in Wings of Liberty effectively and they fixed it in this, why not just patch that into Wings of Liberty?
Because Wings of Liberty is kind of its own game right now.
Right.
If they were to patch Wings of Liberty, they would have to change a lot because they don't have the newer units.
Yeah.
Right now, Infestors are really strong. Zerg's actually really strong in Wings of Liberty because of Infestors being a little bit on the ridiculously strong side.
A little bit ridiculously
if
strong.
they nerf the Infestor, then Zerg's kind of broken and can't do anything because all their units are kind of weak. So it's just like a really bad balancing act. Why not just focus on this game and make everything really cool? So.
Well, you don't want to abandon everybody who's got your old game. That's a good way to piss people off.
That's true.
Yeah, they can't just ignore it, and they may actually continue patching it as a separate thing. They did that with actually Diablo 2 a long time ago when the expansion came out, and with Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
They continued to tune the original game as well. We have more questions.
We do indeed. Paul people in your Twitter names. What's the easiest and most rewarding race to play for an inexperienced multiplayer player?
Okay, so I'll try and field that one.
Go ahead.
Terran has the most rigid structure of build a building, make guys at that building. It's the easiest to pick up and play, in my opinion, because it's the most like other RTS games where you build the barracks, Marines come from the barracks. You build a factory, tanks come out of the factory. It's command and conquer. That series has been around forever. That's what Terrans do. Zerg, I would consider as well for new players just because of the campaign.
I disagree with you a little bit on that.
If you play the campaign first...
See, the thing in the campaign, you're kind of baby a little bit,
Yeah.
because there's no such thing, in multiplayer, Queens have larva inject, which is essentially your macro, and there's not that in campaign. They automatically just produce larva, so that's a huge mechanic that really makes Zerg a part of the game. You have to constantly hitting your injects like every 18 seconds or something like that. So you kind of have to just rhythm down, you have to keep moving creep chambers
You
forward.
got obliterated, look at that.
That's 2 leagues, man. Look at this army, it's so small. I would have crushed, look at that. He just knew.
Yeah. And now let's go back to your view.
Let's go ahead and
He's
pull up
at
everyone's view.
72 supply or
Look at
110.
this. Look at all this stuff. I got this creep, man.
That's creep. Creep doesn't
These are
hurt
essentially
units.
widow mines. Destroy everything. I don't know. I
would say...
maybe I would have died.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I
Going
don't
back
have
to
enough
the
overlords
question.
on the way. I got spine cards being queued up. I don't have very much on the field.
That would have been tough, I think.
I would have made it work.
Okay,
proud,
well,
man.
I believe you. You won. But going back to the guy's question, I think, again, Terran is the most
I
straightforward
agree.
for a brand new player. If you do play the campaign and you decide you like Zerg because of it, just keep in mind that the weird units like jumping Zerglings and corpse-making
Won't be in
roaches and stuff like that is not actually a thing. So definitely practice versus a computer.
You got to look at it as like the play style as to what you like to do as well. Terran, I agree, is probably the easiest right now. Their early game compositions are really strong. You can pretty much aim move for the most part and do a little bit of micro and win against inexperienced players. Zerg is very fast, very mobile, very good at economy. You literally have to set up surrounds and just be in your opponent's face and do a lot of harassment. While Protoss on the other side, very strong individual units, but you need to know how to micro and get into your engagements correctly and use force fields to your advantage. So it's whatever you feel like, but I agree. If you have no idea about Starcraft whatsoever, get into Terran.
And I've got to say, I was shocked when I got into the campaign and there were no larva injections.
Yes.
And that was kind of crazy.
I would kept trying to do it and it's actually heal in the campaign, and I would just automatically use reflex, and I'm like, what is this? And the heal's automatic too, and I'm like, feel so babied right now. Come
Yeah.
on, let me play my Zerg.
It's all about
You get a lot of XP.
Yeah, they must have done
Dang.
something crazy, or there must have been some meetings there anywhere where they're like, we got to make this more accessible because larva inject is just too much to do.
Confusing.
Yeah,
Right,
it's a lot of bump.
Yeah.
So.
For new players to jump into that and have to deal with larva inject is I'm sure that like put a lot of people off in their testing.
Yeah.
Could be.
Of course, now it's going to be an even bigger shock. It's like, I know how to play Zerg, and then they go into multiplayer. It's like
that's what I was saying. Practice against the AI for
Definitely
sure.
do the
because
whole training thing first.
The campaign and multiplayer are completely different. But what time is it? It's about 1:30.
30, yeah.
So shall we try to find our pro players?
Yeah, I actually think I need to jump in a lobby. If we could jump off the...
We can keep answering questions.
Yeah.
And,
Can we jump off the game screen real quick? Because we have to jump into a lobby and we don't want people to jump in and kind of mess with the players.
Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you very much. And then we'll get this set up.
All right, so here's a question from Steve O. Smith. Are any of the multiplayer strategies pre-Heart of the Swarm still relevant?
Definitely. So, 7 pool, you can't go wrong with 7 pool still. If you're playing Zerg, it's the fastest possible efficient attack that you can do, and people still do it, of course, on ladder all the time. So you need to figure out how to defend against it at least. Other viable strategies, Sky Toss is something that's vastly improved. I mean, really, it's a loaded question because no, there's not any, because all of them are better now. Mm-hmm. All the pre-existing strategies are better now because you have more variety of things that you can do and better ways to deal with some of the situations that you've seen back in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, it seems like their approach to revamping it was not to cripple strategies like that. People are using that too much. Let's get rid of that. But to actually just put something in and change it to make people think again.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole trick is when you're introducing new units, you've got to balance everything together. You can't just blindly insert this flying cloaked unit that destroys everything in one hit or whatever. You've got so many different factors and variables you've got to mess with. There actually was a unit that they put into the game that they removed, which is the Warhound. Mm-hmm. The Warhound was a Terran unit that could hit air and ground and actually had a bonus against mechanical units. So if a bunch of Warhounds and a bunch of tanks, for example, butted heads, the Warhounds would just obliterate them. So they realized after some testing, people were saying Warhounds were OP. They were filling a role that didn't need filling.
Right.
Things were killing tanks just fine already. They didn't need this mech monstrosity.
They were meant to be essentially an anti-mech. That's all it was,
and
they just destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Literally, people would just spam that unit.
They killed mech and everything else, so it was a problem. but yeah, you're right. They didn't just say infestors are too good. Get rid of the infestor. Let's do vipers now. Vipers are the new thing that everyone should use and be overpowered or whatever.
Of the units that were taken out to make room for the new ones, what do you miss the most?
So is Carrier still gone, Tim?
No, Carrier's back in the game.
Back. They removed it
fixed
briefly
it
during the beta. I was a little bit sad about that. They did get rid of the mothership, actually.
Nope.
The real mothership?
Yep.
Well, the mothership core turns into
No, you can build the mothership now.
What?
They brought it back.
I haven't played on beta.
They changed so much, like in the patches. They wound up keeping everything, I believe. They just changed units up a little bit. Like Reaper has different abilities now.
Oh, that's right.
Reaper's
entirely different
Reaper's so strong in the early game. It's why you can't 15 hatch anymore. Jeez.
In the beta, I was building Reapers expecting to go in and siege and just destroy all their buildings or harass their worker lines or whatever, but now their damage is way reduced, but they don't even have a siege attack anymore. They can just bounce out and regenerate their health very quickly. So they're still a harassment unit, but they're just played entirely differently. They can also see up cliffs now, which is...
No, that's been fixed too about 4 patches ago.
That's good.
Yeah, that was really OP.
That was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, they're just a harass unit now. They don't really destroy anything if you handle them correctly, but if they go untamed, you will essentially lose to them over time as well. They can just pop into your main, get a couple of drones really weak, take some damage, and pop out, and they regenerate their health. So again, they're just a really good early game aggression, but they're not overpowered in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that may have been taken out, and I don't think any unit was taken out. There's Brood War units still missing people are mad about, like the Lurker, the Defiler, but
they just missed
they won't fit in the metagame, unfortunately. They'll be way too strong because of how the AI is. The AI is way too smart in StarCraft 2 and on. So
I actually miss Dark Archons.
Yeah.
They might show up in Legacy of the Void, I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
I didn't play Brood War, unfortunately, because again, I was a Halo guy.
Man.
I played, that was one that I played a couple of campaign games. I watched my dad, actually. That's how young I was. I was watching my dad play the game. So, I don't know. I need to play it sometime because I heard it was a lot of fun.
Should we talk about an introduction to esports? We're actually going to be
by all
doing
means.
some pro players here to actually play well. I mean, not that you didn't play well.
Wow.
It's just you lost a game and then beat a guy who
It's a keyboard, man.
So yeah, the keyboard.
It's essentially it's your hand, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, your hand. You know, I can definitely agree.
Also, that's not a very fancy keyboard. I
Yeah,
think
it's like
that's one.
I would hit escape and I would jump all the way up here because I'm used to hitting that button. My hands would just feel it. And I don't know what these are, but
Yeah, those are programmable. This is just a keyboard that came with an Alienware.
gotcha.
Macro
This is
keyboard.
a cheating keyboard. That's what that is.
So, but yeah, esports. If you don't know, if you're you bought Heart of the Swarm today and you're like, oh, this game looks fun, I'm going to play the campaign. Oh, there's also multiplayer. There's a storied history of esports, specifically for Starcraft. Brood War went for a decade plus of competitive play in South Korea. It's like a national sport. It's like baseball, soccer, Brood War. And when StarCraft 2 came out, they didn't even really switch over immediately because Brood War was still, they had salaried players making, upwards of 50 grand a year just playing on these pro teams, and then plus whatever prize money they won in these giant, $100,000 plus tournaments that were taking place.
Real quick, while we're doing this, do you want to just pop open like a skirmish match and show us some of the new Protoss and Terran units?
Sure, I can show you them.
Keep talking. But.
So basically, we've got organizations all around the world hosting these tournaments constantly throughout the year. 2010, StarCraft 2 came out, and it was kind of unsure who was going to be doing what with the game. Everyone knew StarCraft was really popular, obviously, because Brood War had such a rich history. It was just going to be, which organizations would pick it up. So MLG picked it up pretty quickly. They had their first event by August. The game came out in May or April or no, it was actually July, actually.
I'm sorry, I missed a question.
MLG in 2010 was the first North American tournament to run a StarCraft 2 tournament. Intel Extreme Masters is based in Europe, but they have global events. They've had tournaments in Brazil, Singapore, China, the US, Germany, Poland, everywhere basically that you can imagine. They probably get out there the most. They leave their home boundaries the most. DreamHack takes place in Sweden a couple of times a year. They have other events. Oh, it looks like, so we are actually getting started on a match here.
So, lucky for us, it's actually going to be Terran and Protoss that will be starting off the match. These are actual pro players. They're from the team Root and Team Complexity.
Then we get a show.
And QXC actually used to be on Root. So these guys, Minigun and QXC,
they know each other.
Two of the best players in North America. QXC is kind of like a mad scientist sort of player where this is actually probably his happiest day of the year because he's got a brand new game that he can tinker with everything and try to be that guy that people are like, oh, is this QXC's build? Oh, I saw QXC do this. I'm going to try it, and he likes that notoriety of being kind of an inventor. Minigun, on the other side, is just a very powerful Protoss player. He does play some very entertaining strategies as well, so both of these guys are great guys, and you can see Complexity, QXC, double tag there because they have this clan feature now.
By the way, also when we were talking about streams earlier on TeamLiquid.net, both these players do stream. Both of them are great. I would definitely recommend them. Very mannered, very nice, willing to answer a lot of their questions. They land about 800 to 2,000 viewers anytime they stream. So if you want to check them out, really nice community. These are great guys to model your play after.
Yep. You can find them on Twitch.tv as well if you don't want to go through the whole Team Liquid thing.
Yep.
QXC, now that you mentioned they're such nice guys, I just mentioned Intel Extreme Masters. In 2010, I actually got to attend that event in New York City. QXC got second place and gave me his giant check to do a giveaway on my StarCraft channel. So QXC, very manner, very nice guy. I had a running joke with him for a while where I called him KFC. He did not appreciate that, but he's got a good sense of humor. Minigun is just a really popular player. He was on Complexity for a long time as well. With both of these guys have been on Root and Complexity, so they're very familiar with each other's play style. They've probably played 1,000 games against each other. So
at this point, what do you think each guy's doing?
Okay, so a lot of little things have happened here. There's a lot of scouting happening. We essentially have a gateway thrown down and followed up into a 13 scout, which is, you can see up here in the top right corner, supply. Whenever I say a 13 or any type of number, that's what I mean. At this time of supply, we have something happening. And a 13 scout comes across the middle of the map. If you do a 13 scout, you can usually get into your opponent's main if they go to wall off. And he's come in and he's now going to see everything here. Let's pull up his vision. This is what he's looking at. He sees a barracks immediately, which again, barracks can create Marines. They need, of course, extra facilities to create a Marauder or anything, but in Heart of the Swarm they do create a Reaper. So he knows with that placement, a Reaper is most likely coming out to go ahead and scout to his main/natural. So he'll play a little bit more defensively. It's just a little bit of scouting here, just by looking at somebody can tell you what strategy he's going for.
Yeah, and these guys have played so many games that every single little piece of information can be disseminated, and he can figure out what kind of build he's going to be going for. And I mean, that was the same in Wings of Liberty. Really, the new Reaper, as I call it, again, he's a little bit weaker. He doesn't just outright kill things anymore. If you get 10 Reapers and go into a base, you're not really just going to win the game straight up. Their real key right now is their harassment potential and the fact that they regenerate health very quickly, and they're really fast, as you can tell.
It's a good probe killer.
Yeah, he's definitely suited for killing probes. So Minigun already building that mothership core. It's going to be done just about the time the Reaper gets over there.
This is a good reaction to Minigun. Okay, I don't want to take any damage to my mineral line, so he goes straight into a mothership core and he grabs the Stalker as well. Stalker can do some pretty nice kiting against the Reapers as well, get some damage done because it's a ranged unit. So the mothership core immediately is starting to zone out the Reaper, so the Reaper can't do much, and it's going to force QXC to do some micro, keep it alive, but it allows him to sit at home and macro up into whatever he wants to go into. So putting pressure on your opponent is essentially the best defense.
It looks like Minigun, just barely lets the Reaper escape, but his health regen should be starting any moment. And we can actually see how quick that is. You can see the Zealot shield already regenerating. Yep. Can you go back to the Reaper? Did it start yet?
Yep.
I thought it was pretty quick. Yeah, so now you can see how quickly it actually goes up once he gets safely out of combat. It takes 5 seconds or whatever it is, but they regenerate so fast. He's already back to full essentially, and can go back and do the same thing. He can keep Minigun's eyes averted basically back at his own base. You can see the mothership core coming in now. Is he gonna recall something or just scout?
Yeah, mothership core can also be used as a bit of a scout because you can follow up into the recall as you were mentioning. So we just bring him into the main, saying, okay, are you following up into command center, or are you doing a one-base play? Which a one-base play is a strategy to kill your opponent. If it doesn't work at all, you have to GG out. Legit, you're done. So coming in, seeing that command center allows them to know, okay, I can sit at home, I can work on my economy a little bit, I can follow open the tech. Just little itty scouting here is essentially dictating where the players are going in their play.
So it looks like, do we have some more?
We have a new question here. Paul BR4 again asks, do you think they will quickly switch to Heart of the Swarm in Pro League play?
Yeah, it's
already there.
Yeah, it's going to happen. The last tournament for Wings of Liberty just happened. It was the ZVZ Finals between Roro and Symbol. Roro, Korean Zerg player, won it.
Oh yeah, and that was historic because Roro was one of those Brood War players that played for many years and had a very late switch to Starcraft 2 only in the last year, and he's already now the coDES champion. coDES champion is the heavyweight belt in Starcraft 2. That's the best competition that you're going to see in Starcraft 2 is GSL. And this Brood War player,
boost we see there.
Yeah, the medevac boost, definitely making use of that. And he's got some Widow Mines actually loaded up in there, so we're going to get a chance to see some Widow Mine action once he finally gets over to Minigun's base.
So Terran's a lot of fun because, again, they're the ones with the new unit, so you get to see some awesome strategies that are starting to evolve here. Let's watch the Widow Mines head in the main. They can do a lot of damage. I'm looking at Minigun. He does have a robotics facility, which means he can get an observer out, which will allow him to see the Widow Mines burrowed, but you got to be really careful with him. They do splash damage, and they will one-shot a Stalker.
Stalkers are here, ready for the medevac. He actually has a good shot of just warding it off just with those Stalkers. So again, we were talking about keeping your eyes on the skies basically earlier. There's no overlords for Minigun, but he does have that mothership core he can float around with, try and check things out. He's got those defensive Stalkers until he's comfortable with an army of his own to be able to move out. So can we take QXC's vision? I think he just was in the main a second ago. He does know about the expansion already, so he can keep that in mind as well. I really want to see what these Widow Mines can do.
I want to really point out, Minigun's playing very well this game. He's playing very defensively, but he's doing it in the correct places here. He's got Stalkers and points, can watch out for drops, got a mothership square, just in case anything comes his way that he can kind of deal with very quickly, because although the Widow Mine does a lot of damage, it does have a burrow time of 5 seconds, so you can kill it off before it will damage your pro line.
So QXC being very indecisive, it looks like maybe not even indecisive, he's just getting over there, using the information that he sees and decides this is a bad idea. I'm just going to wait, no need to lose these 3 Widow Mines, I'm not confident with it, so he's going to bring them back home. He's going to meet up with the rest of his forces, it looks like, and he is getting ready to do about a 10-minute push. You can see the timer right over the minimap. It's at 9.5 right now. That timer is actually very important for a lot of build orders because basically it's after playing enough games, you're going to come to expect things at certain times. You know that the guy can't attack any earlier than this with this number of units. You know that he's likely not going to have a tier 2 building until X number of minutes. So the game timer is very, very important at pro play. Now we see the Widow Mines being dropped off. He did use the medevac boost, and he's trying to burrow them as quick as he can, but Minigun very, very fast by pulling his probes there. There's a big explosion from that Widow Mine. They take a really long time to recharge, so they basically used their payload already. Now you can see all these Widow Mines here on the left side blocking the ramp of Minigun. Minigun is going to have a really tough time. He lost a lot of probes already in that assault. So QXC killed 19 workers. Is that what that said?
Yes.
Man.
That was a really well orchestrated attack. What happened is he came in from behind, put 3 Widow Mines and burrowed, put 5 over here as well. This really puts Minigun in a really heated situation. He put on Photon Overdrive, which is going to help out with defense, but he just doesn't have enough units.
Oh, there's that next blast. Yeah, Minigun.
See, that's what they do. Every 40 seconds, they shoot another shot off as well.
Right.
So, again,
a lot of damage.
He has to get rid of them pretty soon, but they just sit there forever until you get rid of them. And Minigun, he can't really lose his probes because he's going for a really late game composition here because he's going for +2/2 attack. Like, he's just going for straight up upgrades so he can crush his late game. Yep, we do one in the main and one here as well. You can see the power of Terran right now. They're just really strong early game and put a lot of pressure on your opponent.
Oh, the Photon Cannon is in range, so Minigun is able to see these Widow Mines. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any units to actually stop this from happening. So the 3 Stalkers are going to return. Minigun is already at a major disadvantage. You can tell just from the supply count. Right underneath their names, you see QXC at 103, Minigun at only 57. So only about half the forces standing of QXC. And QXC is freely expanding. You can see that the third base on the left side. Here comes some more Widow Mines, blowing up those poor probes. And our computer has crashed.
Oh no!
Adobe Flash Player, etc., etc. Let's close.
Is that a crash? Yeah, close out of that. So you might just go jump back in.
Let's do it.
It's still open.
Oh, it is.
Let's check it out.
That was weird.
There's just a flash error, you know.
Oh, I was like, okay.
Adobe just hanging out, and we're back in the game. All right, terrific. We would have resumed from replay.
I've been so sad, man. This game is really heated.
That was a close one. We're all good to go though, and QXC still riding that advantage. We'll see if he can basically drop the hammer here soon with these Widow Mines. He's got a ton of medevacs still standing as well. And so Minigun, what is his recourse right now? I don't even know.
I'm really scared for him. He's really behind.
Yeah, QXC is pushing up now with some MMM, which is Marines, Medevacs, and Marauders. He's got the Widow Mines support. MMMW, that's the best one.
The Widow Mines, man.
Yep. Minigun is kind of just patrolling around his base, keeping Stalkers at the edges to try and stop these medevacs, but there's so many of them.
Oh, he's getting him though.
He did blink in and hit 2 of those medevacs, but 2 of them are left with barely any HP. The Mothership Core does go down. These Widow Mines are going to be a bit of a problem, but Minigun is not dead yet. He did a great job actually blinking under and stopping at least one of those medevacs from spilling out all those Marines and Widow Mines.
The trade was really good for Minigun, to be honest with you.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have any forces down.
Yeah, he's just really behind, so he can't really punish it too much. But now he's going to have 2/2 upgrades while his opponent went for a very aggressive strategy, but in mid-game he's pretty weak. He only has +1 attack, +2 on the way, which means he's at a huge disadvantage when it comes to a straight-up fight. It's whether or not Minigun can do the engagements correctly. This is the strength of Protoss here. If you can get into really good micro-transactions, if you will, and just kind of out-trade your opponent, especially with upgrades, you're going to win. He's trying to push that advantage right now. But QXC has established his 3rd base, which means he has 1 more base of economy over his opponent, which is pretty standard in TVP.
I do see some Hellbats in the production tab as well. He's making 2 at a time right now. Yep. So that'll be basically all the new Terran stuff showcased for us. I'm not sure if Minigun, just because he's so far behind from that early game, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get to Stargate Tech and show us the Tempest, but actually the Oracle either. The Mothership Core is basically the only thing he has access to right now, and QXC still pressuring him. What kind of upgrades do our players have at this moment?
2/2 for a Protoss player. Yep, and then we have 1/1 with +2/1.
Okay,
so Wildebeest 50 wants to know, how have the new units changed the roles of the races in the different phases of the game? For example, Protoss, are Protoss more harass-like?
Yeah, especially against Zerg. Against Terran, all races are kind of playing really defensive, and that's kind of standard. Terran are meant to be the aggressors. It's kind of still the same in Hardest 1. They're just more stronger than they were in Winning the Liberty, and it really shows. But this game's going pretty well for Minigun. You gotta be careful not to lose the Stalkers. They're the real strength for him. Ooh, a nice little blink forward there, killing off that Medivac even with the speed. He's also getting up in the top left corner with a Warp Prism. So,
and look at the supply now. We just mentioned it was like 103 to 55, catching way up now, closing the gap to only 31 supply difference. So this is something that Minigun can do just because he protected his main so well. with those stalkers. His natural was a bit of a wash because he lost so many probes.
Yeah, he lost 30.
But he was able to stabilize. Yeah, he lost 19 just in the first push. So.
And 11 more after the next push. So if he had not lost, this game would be over. Again, the strategy was meant for QXC to do that kind of damage. Minigun is doing a good job of responding, if you will, getting his own damage done and keeping the army count low at QXC. It's just a matter of keeping it up. And he's moving into 3-3 as well and starting to grab his third base. If he can grab this and keep pressure on the top left corner without losing units, he'll be in a really good position.
So QXC really has not taken a lot of losses yet. He's just kind of slowed down his momentum. He's still in a great spot as well. I think the next major battle that we see here could be a big decider. I see Ghosts on the field. Ghosts have EMP just like in Wings of Liberty, so EMP will drop all the shields of those Protoss units if he can land a good one. So QXC definitely switching gears a little bit to better deal with this growing Protoss death ball, as they call it.
Marine.
Yeah, just one Marine, that's all you need.
Billy, man.
There's a Hellbat that we saw. It's basically a Hellion transformer that you can build it as a Hellion or as a Hellbat straight out of the factory. And at this point, it looks like he's got them all converted. They are biological and mechanical, which is interesting. In Wings of Liberty, SCVs were the only thing that had both of those, and that's important because it means medevacs can heal them because they're biological, and SCVs can repair them because they're mechanical. So Terran has the best healing, like on-the-fly healing of any of the races.
Yeah, it's kind of weird right now. We're kind of thinking a nerf might happen with that, with the Hellbats.
Ooh, some Warp Prism coming in full view of everything. Turrets still being placed up, so what is he going to drop out of there? He's got just some Zealots, it looks like. Kind of interesting. Maybe just causing a distraction so he can mobilize that big army on the other side of the map. Unfortunately for Minigun, QXC was aware of that as well because he had some units over there himself.
Yeah, that's all that was. Is he's trying to keep QXC just back for a while because the Protoss can get on 3 base and grab plus 3/3, and they start grabbing 6 gases because they're a very gas-heavy type of units, so they're still gas-heavy. He can get really, really strong very quickly, and he has area effect units like Storm that can kind of destroy an army if they sit in it too long. So he's just buying time with his Warp Prism harassment.
QXC is maxed right now, so essentially what that means is he's going to be focusing everything on upgrades and then trying to harass, trying to either, if he could basically drop 8 Marines in the main, try and do some damage, but if they die, he doesn't care because he's going to replace them with something bigger and better. So at this time, he's just expanding, spending all that extra income that he's not spending on units. On more infrastructure. You can see turrets going up all over the place. He's building 3 at once. There's a sensor tower coming up, planetary fortress, more weapon upgrades, but essentially if he's not attacking, he's not really doing a whole lot, and Minigun can kind of catch up on supply.
Yeah, he's afraid to engage. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead with the question if you like.
Keenam Krindar asks, has anything gotten easier with Heart of the Swarm compared to Wings of Liberty for new players or players that aren't rated RTSs?
I think Terran got easier again.
Well, I'll start with the one major thing, which is kind of ridiculous, is when you first start a game of Heart of the Swarm, your miners automatically start mining.
Right. That's nice.
That's nice. I mean, it's.
I was going to ask about that. Is that a change that you guys think was welcomed by the community, or is that just like
It's weird because it's like, oh, I need the game to mine for me. Like that's really bizarre that they would add this in. But honestly, what it is everyone's playing on a different computer and on a different internet connection. Right. So if the game is just triggering these guys starting mining immediately, then there's no user error there. Like if you're slow to load into the game or whatever, or your mouse is not kicked on or whatever, it's mining automatically. So it creates an even space right at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of it, was to reduce lag because there was lag on the ladder and people would get a little small advantage of minerals. So that's all it was.
But honestly, for new RTS players,
great.
I don't know if it's well, that little feature is great for new players. The game itself is still pretty intimidating. It is probably the most complex RTS out there right now that you can play, and that's why the competitive side is so thrilling to watch, because someone who is not very skilled can watch these guys and have something to work towards, have something to aspire, have something to enjoy watching if they're not that good themselves. And there's just so much stuff in this game that a brand new RTS player, should probably try to ease into it, maybe with the campaign. But there's all these tools like the matchmaking against AI. You can partner with other people against computers, no risk. Just play a game, try to figure it out. I would say if you're a brand new RTS player, just take your time, and you'll eventually get the hang of it.
I would say that the matchmaking takes most of the fear out of new players jumping in, because they've done a really good job. Like there are those 5 placement matches where you're probably gonna get thumped.
Yeah.
But just take those beatings, and then I'll put you with other people who took those same beatings.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe you get stomped by something, and you're like, oh, that's really good. I'm going to try to do that. Now you have this replay saved that you can just hop in and try to figure out how we got there, watch the replay, study it, make your own builds if you decide you want to. It's really great for that. And any new player, definitely, I would recommend playing against AI before doing the placement matches.
Yep.
And Pow to Ledge again asks, what's the average length of a pro player match?
Oh, wow.
I would say 20 Blizzard minutes.
Yeah, which is like 12 real, 12, 14 around there.
Yeah, so Blizzard time, you can see the clock just over the mini-map. It says 24 minutes and 40 seconds. It's moving a little faster than real seconds because for some reason, Blizzard time is slightly faster than normal time.
Yeah.
But either way, it's bizarre because they made it faster, but it's also the default for competitive. Right. Either way, 14 minutes for a pro game is about right. If I'm budgeting for a tournament and I know there's a best of 5, I know it's going to take between an hour or an hour and 45 minutes generally. If you have these outliers though, sometimes you have rushes where the game is 5 minutes long. A pro player, if he gets behind early, knows exactly what's happening and that he cannot win, so he'll just bounce out of the game. You get the super fast ones, and then you get the super long ones where you have players afraid to attack into each other for whatever reason. They take the whole map. You can see this game is actually starting to spin a little bit out of control as we've got both players basically taking their entire side of the map. That's this. I would say if a game ended right now, the next big engagement, that would be about average.
Yeah.
For these guys.
So one thing I'm curious about is what's going to happen to Wings of Liberty Pro Play? Is that going to go away, or are they going to split into 2 different communities?
Essentially, yes.
There'll be leagues on the side here and there that
pretty much dissolve.
do keep playing. Like Brood War still played, but it's not the high top tier players. The money is going to be in Heart of the Swarm.
Right.
So the pro players are going to switch over to playing this game.
Right.
Wings of Liberty will be there. There will always be moments, maybe some tournaments here and there that are for fun to play Wings of Liberty, but it's going to fall off because the pro players really love Heart of the Swarm. It's so different. It's not as stagnant as the metagame got Wings of Liberty. It was a great game, but it served its purpose. It's over now. So.
And one thing about pro players, just the pro player mentality. I competed in an Unreal Tournament in '99, 10 years ago, and basically the mentality is I want to play whatever other people are playing. I want to get good at it, and I want to beat them. So if Wings of Liberty doesn't have any players anymore, they're naturally going to move on. If another RTS came out later this year, they might naturally move on. It's just the new thing. They've got to play it basically because that's what people want to see.
I guess Company of Heroes is still coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Never been quite as big as Starcraft.
No, unfortunately. But QXC did finally drop the hammer there. He was mounting forces for so long. He had tons of ghosts ready for EMPs, and Minigun still from that early damage that he took, those 19 probes as natural, there was no real way for him to recover. I think in 80 to 90% of cases, he was going to lose that game after that.
Yeah. I mean, overall, he played really well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Watching the game, I know we didn't really commentate that much, but he was doing really good cost-effective trades. Again, he was just too far behind. That strategy from QXC, again, if it had failed, he would have lost the game overall. So it's just kind of one of those balance trades, those high-risk, high-reward plays, and QXC executed it pretty quickly, and Minigun just unfortunately missed out, because that drop that came into the back of the natural and the push at the top
was a squeeze play.
It was really, really well executed by QXC. Had he missed up just a little bit, then Minigun wins the trade. So
check out the graphs. Oh, we're actually back on us. Never mind. I was curious about some of the ups and downs just through the course of the game.
Yeah, you can see where Minigun just drops off because he lost so many probes.
But QXC just leveled off at 200 and went and killed him, basically.
Yeah, never dropped.
Yeah. But it was a really good game, actually. So QXC, I mentioned earlier, is the innovator. I haven't actually seen too much Widowmine play like that he did with the drop behind the natural and squeezing up at the front. So something to keep in mind for people who did watch it just now.
Yeah, he's got some really strong strategies. Reaper Widowmine seems to be one of his favorites as of late. So again, like I said, guys, if you want to learn how to play Terran, you want to learn how to play some really cool, aggressive early game strats, QXC's a man to watch. Minigun, probably bounce back in this next game. For the most part, a lot of pro strategy, a lot of pro tournaments, you're going to have best of 3s to outcome who is the better player to advance.
Are we going to swap on over to CatZ, though? If CatZ is on?
Well, the thing is, CatZ is in Peru, and they don't have daylight savings time.
Oh, okay.
So he was a little bit off when it came to time. So we're trying to wait and see if he hops on. Of course.
Oh, we could totally do another one here.
I'm having our background guy, Adrian. He's actually the one getting everything set up for us, and we just get to sit and answer questions and wait until he invites us again. So
okay, cool.
We'll get a game pretty soon.
All right. Any new questions?
Yeah, we have another winner who wins a copy of the game.
Congratulations.
Jeff Hesser Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It says, do you think Heart of the Swarm will extend or reduce the average time of competitive games?
I think
it's set up to extend it,
yeah,
honestly.
I think it will overall. The thing is, we won't have really the late game scenarios that we had in Wings of Liberty where people are just kind of sitting there because they can't fight. Because you mentioned earlier the Tempest for Protoss, it's a really long range unit that can kind of whittle your opponent down, so it forces engagements to happen. So I think over time, we won't have as much long games, but we should have longer games, if that makes any sense.
I think
the
longer
average
on
will be a little
average,
bit longer.
but not those huge
we won't have
outliers
the really
that are an
crazy
hour
ones,
plus, right.
but we will have less early game rushes. So. I think it's going to balance out really well to have good 14 to 18 minute games.
It seems like they've balanced it in a way that
I'm really excited.
They want you to use the new units. You know, they're all kind of middle to upper tier units. So yeah, I think they made early defense a little bit stronger. And you know, Widow Mines and Swarm Hosts are great for early defense, so they can kind of extend game length, I would say.
What's the most creative use of a Widow Mine you've seen so far?
Creative use of Widow Mine.
There was this match. It was stupid. It was a lot of fun to watch, but it was just like so dumb. This player got to a late game scenario to where both players couldn't rebuild their Nexus, and he had a command center and 2 Widow Mines, and his opponent had like 8 Stalkers. And he literally would pick up his command center, float to a different area, get a Widow Mine down, and bait these Stalkers into these Widow Mines. And it was just over time, over a course of like 40 minutes, the Widow Mines eventually killed off these Stalkers because he couldn't engage them because he didn't have detection. So like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever watched in my life.
40 minutes?
It was like 40 minutes. Like,
Wow.
the game itself was like 18 minutes, and then it was like 40 minutes of this just like baiting these Stalkers in. And he had like 4 SCVs that had like 80, I think no, like 120 minerals, so he could take some damage to the command center, repair it, and then it was horrible. It's Goody's like a great player. That was the player.
It was Goody?
It was
oh,
Goody.
Wow.
So,
that doesn't surprise me
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Goody's
Goody,
notorious for playing long siege tank battles and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're going to get started here soon. Widow Mines, though, I like when they use them to block Zelnaga towers and things like expansion points and things like that. You can just drop one Widow Mine, and if a Zergling or probe or anything comes along, it's just going to get one shot, and they'll forget about it most times because they're going to send it and go back to their army and whatever they're doing.
And they didn't see what killed it. They
Right.
assumed there was only a unit
So
there,
minutes later, they're like, "Oh wait, I thought I built a command center here, but no, my guy died immediately because there's a Widow Mine."
It's changed a lot because in the patch when I first started playing, it was you would use it and then it would blow up.
It was a one shot.
It was just one shot only, and then they changed it to the point where it was every 40 seconds. And I didn't catch that patch, and I got on the ladder and I was going for a very wing-heavy strategy, 3/3 lings with the Ultralisk, and so I run in with a couple of lings and then kill off the Widow Mines because they blew up. I thought they were dead, and then I come in with. A good minute later with this huge attack, and I just run in and like 8 Widow Mines kill my whole entire army. Like, I've never been so angry in my life. I was like, that's the dumbest patch ever. This is so OP, and I threw a fit. Like, I'm not casting this game ever again. I quit.
They used to be actual like landmines, spider mines, if you remember from Brood War, where they kind of latch in, they come up out of the ground and run at you and blow up. They were kind of like that.
And they were jumping out of the ground and hitting air units.
Right, they're like bouncing betties that hit everything.
Yeah, I played a couple of rounds of the beta early on, and like I was having a lot of fun with those. Just planting them near all the expansions of my enemy, and
you can build whole like matrices of defensive points, and the great thing is you can use them like Zerg players have been using Zerglings for years, which is just burrow them to give yourself vision in more spots, and it's all automatically a threat because it just fires on whatever walks up. So
they're very good at sectioning off a part of the map as well. You can have your main army in a certain area, kind of defending your main or natural. And if you go for like a really quick third, throw a couple Widow Mines up there, and for the most part, they'll hold off a decent amount of armies. A lot of people are afraid to engage into them without detection, which means against Zerg, it's 18 more seconds that you buy yourself to get your army over there. So, because it takes 18 seconds to build an Overseer. So, just things like that. Just they're really good at sectioning off. It's just a really good unit overall. So.
we have.
We're out of questions.
Oh man!
So
send us some, guys.
Tweet some more at us at IGN.
At IGN, man.
What can we see what our progress is here?
Yeah, man. Let's yell at Adrian. Adrian.
We've got our IPL StarCraft 2 operations manager.
Cool guy. Yeah.
He helped us out at our live events, IPL 3 and IPL 4, and then eventually joined us full time for IPL 5. So he's doing a great job. KatZ is watching the stream.
Gotcha. He's watching the stream to see when the game ended, and it's just a little bit on the behind side.
Gotcha.
But yeah, something about that, I guess, if we're going into esports, there's so many people that run a production and run a cast. It's essentially like you watch an NFL broadcast, and you got to think of all those people that are behind it, the cameraman, the people that are producing it, the directors, the casters, everything is put into one, and we do that for esports, which is really cool. If you ever get a chance to go to an event, you certainly should. If you only have one chance to watch a event, you should definitely check out GSL, which is the Global Starcraft League. It's ran over Korea. It's the best, essentially, of the best. Koreans are the ones we want to be. We actually call ourselves foreigners. We're like Koreans versus foreigners is what we call the matchup whenever we do face off against them. But if you only have one, check out the GSL. They have the best production, it would seem, out of anyone right now. The casters are considered the best, Tasteless and Artosis.
Yeah,
I learned a lot from them guys. So
and now you can log into the Korean servers and get a thorough beating.
With the
global
region,
play. If you play light at like 3 o'clock at night or whatever, you just get stomped all night. You don't even know why. And you're like, good luck, have fun. And then you have Korean come up, you're like, oh, just GG out, man.
Oh, it's time for bed. Oh, look at that. Oh, where'd the time go? But it looks like KatZ is going to be ready to play in just a minute. So we're going to have QXC stay on since he won the game, or do you think Minigun?
It's not best of threes, by the way. It's just they're just show matches. We're just showing up all the new units and stuff, having pro players play. So there we go.
Right.
Getting set up on Akalon Flats here.
All right, so you mentioned coDS. That takes place in Seoul, South Korea.
Yep.
They actually had a huge launch event last night as well, as did Versailles in France and Irvine, California, where Blizzard headquarters is, and tons of people turned out for all these launch events. They had such a great, smooth launch, like in the wake of maybe a slightly worse launch last week. But they totally knocked it out of the park. So I'm sure they're very relieved that they had over 100,000 stream viewers and the game worked and all that great stuff. So Blizzard was a little bit reeling from Diablo 3 release, which had some bumps in the road. So
it's a different kind of always online game. I mean, there's no the majority of people are playing single player. When you're playing single player Diablo, it's still tracking like every single thing that's happening in your game. Like every monster is being basically controlled on the server. Whereas Starcraft, you're playing single player. It's all happening on your computer.
It's
just it's not having to communicate with the server for that.
Exactly.
So the load is
they weren't getting
nowhere near
hammered,
as big.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so many people were at the launch events, so they didn't get home until 1 a.m. They had plenty of time to work with. So yeah, we've got a game starting now. It looks like it is going to be KatZ versus QXC. QXC we just saw basically not dominate Minigun, but basically he got him under his thumb. He got him under his thumb quickly and held him down well enough to take the win. So KatZ, very interesting guy. I've known him for a few years now. He's one of the first friends I made that I hadn't previously known in StarCraft 2 at that first event, MLG Raleigh, in August 2010. He is the owner and creator of Root Gaming. They actually broke up at one point during Wings of Liberty, all joined Complexity. QXC is still on Complexity from those days. After their 1-year contract or whatever ended, KatZ came back to Root Gaming, found some sponsors, and now they're back. They're back on the rise. They've got some really, really impressive players. And these guys, again, QXC and KatZ have played each other a million billion
they're
times.
just goofing around, goofballs.
And they will mess with each other.
By the way, if you want to follow these guys on Twitter, really, really important for you to do so. They're really cool. They always tweet when their streams go live and whatnot. They were posting them earlier in the chat earlier. But KatZ, who is ROOT.Win right now, the yellow Zerg, his is Roots, ROOT.Z, KatZ. So ROOT.CatZ, I'm sorry, that's what it is. So ROOT.CatZ, if I remember correctly. And then coL is coL.QXC. For Complexity.
All right, so KatZ, his name is We Win right now because it was his alternate account.
That's
he's a streamer, and every time he plays on stream and they win a ladder game, he says We Win.
It's and the chat just goes crazy. It's
hilarious.
They're
like, oh, we won.
We win. It's hilarious.
We're such good winners at this game. But
he's really good at getting the chat involved. Again, he's a bit of a goofball Zerg when he plays him. He's really yeah, there it is right there. I can't even talk
Spectator?
back.
No.
Yeah.
There's the Twitter
They're plugging in there.
handle there.
But he's a lot of fun, man. Definitely. If you like listening to Disney songs, listen to Disney songs while just killing people with Zerg. It's awesome.
That's true. He's a very fun, entertaining streamer and a great guy. So
Nerd for All Seasons asks, which unit do you think Blizzard will look to nerf in their first patch?
Ooh, I'm thinking the Hellbat. It's a little bit too tanky right now and able to be repaired by Medivacs. I think it's a little bit too much of an advantage. We see players just getting the Hellbats to sit in front, and if things do come in the way, great, they kill stuff, but they're mostly there just because they're really tanky in themselves. So I'm thinking healing it might be nerfed.
I'm a little curious if I actually don't think Viper or Swarm hosts are in any danger because they're still trying to get figured out. Oracle maybe, Widowmine maybe.
Yeah,
it's still kind of tough. I think it actually might be a few competitions, like actual tournaments, that need to take place before they actually have enough high-level data. And the other thing Blizzard balances around is for everyone. So they're not going to cater just to the tippy-top tier competitive player every single time. Even though there may be a skew slightly in percentages, they want to keep it 50-50, 50, all the way down, all the way into Bronze League if they can. So unless there's just a huge lopsided win rate at any point, they're going to be very conservative with their nerfs and their buffs.
Blizzard has come out and mentioned that they are keeping an eye on the medevac right now with the speed boost that it has available. They realize that it is really strong, but they're just trying to see if players can learn how to adapt to them and defend them correctly.
And that's a big factor is, when you're balancing a game, you've got to do thousands of iterations normally, and lucky for Blizzard, they have all these players who that's all they want to do is play endless games. So they have tons of data that they can pull from. I'm sure all their APIs are pulling stats on all these ladder games and things like that they can refer to and disseminate and figure out what is too strong and what isn't. But CatZ doing something kind of risky here, actually trying to keep this Reaper occupied. Wow, good, very quick move. I'm surprised QXC did not get that drone. So what happened there is CatZ just plopped him down into a spine crawler to save its life because the Reaper was one shot away from destroying it.
Well, the QXC did a little bit of harassment, but you notice the damage isn't really too crazy. It takes 5 shots to actually kill a drone with 1 Reaper. So
5 shots?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a heartache.
It looks and it sounds like it hurts a lot, but if you're able to manipulate a situation like we just saw from CatZ there, you might be able to pick off these Reapers.
I don't know why he's facing down a Queen, though. That seems really risky.
Queens are good defense against Reapers as well. They're really tanky. They put out a decent amount of damage. But the strategy here for QXC is to pop in, do some damage, regenerate that health, pop in, kill him again once more. And if your opponent doesn't make another Queen or get enough lings out, you will kill that Queen off, which hurts them really, really hard going into the mid game because they don't have larva ejects available. So that's the thought process here for QXC.
Yep, QXC, if we look at the production tab, is just expanding. You can see CatZ already has, and QXC is trying to mess with him. Pick up as many drones as he possibly can. CatZ, you'll notice, is not building any more Zerglings right now to try and deal with this because he knows it just won't really be that effective.
He's cranking out Queens.
Yeah, he went really heavy on Queens here. And it's going to work out for QXC because he's bringing Hellions, which can dart on by the Queens. You need to be careful because the Queens do block the ramp, and of course the Hellions can't do much, but he's trying to get the Queens out of position or get them low to where the Hellions can finish them off. It's just a really whittle down strategy. That's all this Starcraft really seems like right now because of the units that are early. You just whittle your opponent down. If they make mistakes, then you beat them. But CatZ is actually doing a really good job of defending this overall, and he's ticking up, going to lair already.
Yeah, and it's designed, like I said earlier, defensive play is a little bit stronger at Wings of Liberty. They nerfed a few of the super early strategies. They don't want players just getting totally stomped out because, and if you can imagine, like a coDES finals is a best of 7. You have 3 great back and forth games, and then game 4 the guy just rushes and it's over in 4 minutes. It's like we really would have liked to see that 4th game at their highest potential. So I don't know if that's like their design philosophy, but that seems to me, like you said, everyone's just whittling each other away early game. No one has this strategy that's just going to smash someone out.
So QXC is kind of being greedy here. He's followed up into a 3rd command center behind, not really having that much infrastructure, which means, he has a small amount of units outside, but we have CatZ falling up into a Roach Warren, which means if he wanted to, he can get really aggressive. Unfortunately, and it looks like he might actually. He's saving up a lot of gas. If he makes, 10 to 15 roaches and heads out across the middle of the map, this army cannot deal with it. This army will be killed off pretty quickly, and because he went for a 3rd command center, just now getting infrastructure up, he could take a lot of damage here. And we have roaches being created, and that seems to be the plan here for CatZ.
Yeah, and QXC last game did a maneuver that was pretty risky as well, and so it seems like for Heart of the Swarm, he's just going to be as greedy as he can until people figure it out. Seems to work so far. We've got these crawlers pushing forward. That Widow Mine getting destroyed there because the Spore Crawler was there.
Yeah.
Spore Crawler, of course, granting detection, so any Widow Mines burrowed nearby can be revealed, and you can just easily take them out. Reaper coming in now, again, just to get a look at things. There's a Widow Mine planted again. We mentioned earlier that's another great use for them. Just plug up any expansions or Xel'Naga towers, any points of interest on the map that you can toss those Widow Mines, just go for it.
This
Choke
is
points
really
are
big
as well.
For QXC, by the way. He came
He's
in and
seeing
scattered
everything.
roaches, so he knows the aggression's coming, which means he's going to bunker up at home. That scout was so important for him. And it really needed CatZ to kind of have something over here to kind of prevent that from happening, and unfortunately he missed out on it. So now he has to get his damage done. Can he get here in time? That's the real question here.
Yeah, you can see the infestation pit actually coming up for cats as well, and I think Swarm Host might be a result of that a little bit later, depending on how he does here. It looks like he's not going to get very much progress in. He might not even finish off the bunker. It looks like QXC was pretty quick at trying to defend that. And he's got a decent mix of tier 1 units here ready to try to fend this off. I'm not sure. Oh, there are destructible rocks here on the side. So cats has another option. The Overseer is there for any Widow Mines that QXC may have used defensively. He can try to get the jump on them before it just blows up all his roaches. So I am actually kind of curious to see if he presses in here. That's a lot of units for QXC.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount of Marauders too, which are really good against roaches, especially with stim back. And you see that look, the Widow Mine exploding on a good portion of the roaches. The Marauders just way too strong, and Cass is forced to retreat here.
Scan there from QXC. Of course, roaches burrow to do have really, really fast regeneration, just like Wings of Liberty. So QXC very quick on the scan. Make sure that they don't all escape.
So we have a quick question from Jacob Forer here. Do most professional players stick with just one race, or are there advantages to learning all the races?
A lot of players, to be honest with you, a lot of the Koreans for the most part, they stick with one race, but they off ladder in tournaments.
Yeah.
They'll go and they'll warm up with an off race just because it allows you to get warmed up, but you don't freak out or show off your builds or anything. I don't know. They all play at a pretty high level, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When you get to the point that you're this good at like Terran, Protoss, and Zerg, you just essentially kind of stomp the other races against casual players. But they won't ever do it in a tournament scenario. The only player that does it, I believe, is Maro.
Maro, yeah. Maro's the classic example. He is the only one who will consistently switch races during a tournament.
Yeah.
And he started out as a Terran player, actually, and won the first Intel Extreme Masters World Championship in 2010 over Idra, who is a pretty famous North American Zerg player. Maro won that tournament basically by building tons of Reapers. And that's all he did, built tons of Reapers. And after he won that tournament, he quit Terran and said, I'm going to learn Zerg because Terran's just unfair. They ended up nerfing Reapers very heavily. And Maro said, I'm going to go from Zergling to Ultralisk in 30 days. I'm going to post all my replays and analyze my play. You guys can help me, you know. And he did it. He won another tournament later that year as a Zerg. So now he plays Terran against
Zerg.
Terran against
Zerg,
but Zerg against the others.
Yeah, he plays Zerg mainly, and then whenever he has to play against Zerg, he hates ZVZ, so he plays Terran against it. So it's pretty cool. But for the most part, yeah, you won't see people do it because they put so much time into just learning.
It's just muscle memory too.
Yeah.
Like you're doing these builds so often. The early game literally is just you could do it with your eyes closed if you play the race enough.
And has the right keyboard.
And if you're switching too much, no, you don't need to keep. No, just kidding. If you're switching races too often, it'll probably throw off your game. I mean. They talk about that with mastery of anything. If you put in a certain number of hours, you're considered a master. So basically, they're just getting their reps. They're going to play the same race and figure out how to be the best at that race.
So QXC's been trying to keep the economy down of CatZ by doing a multi-pronged harassment. He's gotten the hatchery down here in the bottom left killed off, and he's heading to this top right corner. If you can keep a Zerg on less bases than you, as Terran or Protoss, you will pretty much beat them out. Zerg units aren't really that cost efficient. They're just really good at swarming. So the whole plan here is just kind of keep them low on bases, starve them out, and then just do a really good cost-efficient trade.
Yeah, CatZ did lose his hatchery there, and it doesn't really seem to be going for any of the new stuff. Oh, there's a Viper actually in the production queue now.
Nice.
So we will get to see some hopefully good like Scorpion pulls, some yanks.
Get over here.
Hyun is a very good Korean Zerg player. And he says, many yank. When we were talking about, Heart of the Swarm Zerg versus Protoss specifically. He's like, many yank. So we'll see if CatZ can do some yank.
No.
But QXC does escape, no fungal growth. Did he have the energy for it?
No, he didn't,
unfortunately. So
unfortunately.
he couldn't trap those medevacs. And QXC is going to return.
Fungal, by the way, roots. Army down. Oh,
medevac left.
Catches. Yeah. he looked back to macro at his base and unfortunately taking some hits here. We'll do some nice micro, but unfortunately that will be killed off very quickly here. But yeah, Infestors, they have a fungal ability which kind of roots units down in place, so you can kind of kill them off very quickly.
We have a question from Shift+1. Can you foresee any build trends forming in Heart of the Swarm multiplayer now that the new units are in play?
For which races? For Terran,
it's just a general.
Yeah, for Terran right now, the build that really seems to be opening up here is you go into a Rax with a reactor, depending on which kind of strategy you want to go for, and then you can follow up into, after you get a few Reapers out, 3 to 4, you can follow that factory that you've created behind it and throw it on top of the reactor, get the racks off, and then so you have a nice amount of Reapers, a nice amount of Widow Mines available. And you can put some interesting aggressive play on your opponent, keep them on 2 bases, especially against Zerg. So that's a build that's kind of popped up a lot. Protoss, again, opening with Stargates has been really the trend as of late.
Oracle can literally, if it goes undetected, it can end the game right there just by putting the opponent so far behind in workers. It has really great worker harass, and it's a fine, solid opening because you can play defensively up until that point. And then after, let's say the oracles do get shut down, then you just transition very easily into the higher tier units like Void Rays and Tempest.
And there are the Vipers.
Yep, you saw there the consumability gave him energy, which is pretty nice. You don't want to do it against Protoss because they have an ability called feedback, which will actually do damage for the amount of energy you have. So I want to be a little bit careful with that. But against Terran, you're good to go, man, as long as you evade any EMPs.
He's going to want to blind all these Marines and Marauders.
Here we go, he's going to use it.
He's going to fungal
Nice.
first. There's the blinding cloud, it's the green stuff. So any Marines in there actually cannot shoot out, basically.
Yeah, they get one range instead of their regular range they have. And see, they can't shoot out one range, so he has to micro forward.
So many units, and that is a GG.
GG.
Yeah, QXC again, just showing the might of Terran production with all those reactors and tech labs and things. He was very active with his drops and stuff like that. He did shut down one of those hatcheries, so really good play there from QXC. You can see his APM 337 right there.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he's getting faster.
Yeah, for the most part, because once CatZ wasn't able to really establish a third or anything, and we saw the greedy opening behind QXC and it wasn't punished in time, it's just really downhill from there. As long as QXC does the right thing by harassing his opponent, keeping him low on resources, keeps the macro up, he's going to win that game. So QXC is just on fire right now. Again, you can kind of attribute it to Terran just being beast mode. QXC is one of these players that if you give him an advantage, he's going to crush you. And Terran right now with your early game aggression, you're able to really put your opponent on the back foot. And we've seen it twice, once against Protoss and once against Zerg. So again, Terran's very easy right now, and people are kind of learning them, and Zerg doesn't know how to react quite yet.
Do we have one PvZ match left to
I
go?
believe we're going to be doing Minigun versus
CatZ.
CatZ.
Right, so we'll see if that. Go ahead and ping our guy Adrian and make sure that's still going on. Otherwise, yeah, that was some really good play there from QXC, actually taking out both of his former teammates, Minigun and CatZ. CatZ is probably not too happy about that. He might have some words with Minigun and himself, but they're going to practice until they can eventually beat QXC again. These guys, again, have played just so many games against each other that, you know, they're not going to be hurt over the loss or anything either.
Yeah, they're probably going to joke around a lot and actually kind of have a gentleman's agreement probably to go to mid-late game and have a lot of fun and put on a show for us. So
they might even have a powwow on Skype and talk about how the games went and what they can do, because the game is brand new. You know, it is still valuable information if you can figure out, hey, what were you thinking when you did that third expansion? That didn't make any sense. And then if he can reason it out, then QXC now knows, okay, I need to watch for third expansions more often, because that's a great point. Something like that. And we do have another match. Excellent.
Nice. Adrian on top of it. Good guy, Adrian.
Good guy, Adrian. IPL Goliath on Twitter.
Yep.
If you want to follow him. But yeah, any new questions, or do you have any questions yourself, Mr. Dan?
No more questions
Mr.
from Twitter right
Dan?
now. We need more questions.
Yep.
Twitter, make with the questions.
Make with the questions.
Yeah, my name on Twitter is Ask Joshy, so it totally makes sense if you want to ask questions. I mean, it's just only natural.
I mean, I honestly want to know what their thoughts are. For the people that have never seen any sports.
Yeah, let's ask them.
If you guys like them, let us know at IGN, of course, and they'll patch it to us, because esports it's going somewhere. In the last 8 months, it's really started to explode in terms of production, in terms of players, in terms of organization. Everything's starting to look really professional.
Do you think that Starcraft is gaining steam or losing it? I mean, we see like League of Legends and Dota 2 just taking off. Yeah. Is it coming at the expense of Starcraft, or is it parallel to it?
Wings of Liberty. I hate to bash my own game. It got really stagnant towards the late game. Zerg just got really strong. Players really figured out that infestors are really strong. Because there was a point where we were towards mid-seasons and whatnot, and Zergs were just whining constantly, so they got a lot of busts. And then all of a sudden we realized, oh wait, this unit's actually really good. Why don't we use this? And it was just way too strong. And so players kind of got bored, kind of watching. Our players, or not viewers got bored, kind of watching that. So it started dying off a little bit. Players started getting a little bit annoyed, and they're just kind of waiting for Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah,
I think Heart of the Swarm is really going to inject a lot of steam into it again.
When you know that a major expansion is coming up like that, major players like Idra and White Raw were practicing the beta from day one because they realized they were a bit far behind in Wings of Liberty now. Let's get the jump on the new generation here. And there will be lots of tournaments early on here for Heart of the Swarm where players like Idra and White Raw will be able to benefit. pretty quickly. So
yeah, another thing was oversaturation of tournaments.
Yeah.
You have tournaments every single day. Eventually, people are going to get bored of watching. And organizations have started to really work together and kind of really stop that from
schedule
happening.
that a little better.
So hopefully, with some marketing and some nice jobs of, I guess, organization, we should be a little bit better in the StarCraft scene. But Heart of the Swarm is a great game. Blizzard did an awesome job with this, and I really think it's going to explode in viewership.
Yeah, and to talk about your other point, though, you asked if League of Legends and Dota were kind of, at the expense of StarCraft 2 players and viewership. I have to say yes to some extent, because when League of Legends exploded in growth, I know that many of the mid-tier sort of North American players that I'm friends with hopped on League of Legends and started grinding. Destiny is the probably prime example of that, where he realized his StarCraft 2 prowess had basically run its course. He was not improving anymore, so he jumped ship, went to League of Legends. I'm sure he's streaming Heart of the Swarm right now, but yeah, he's trying to make it, so to speak, in League of Legends, and I know that some viewers probably flip the channel every once in a while too, because we're all PC gamers. Like, honestly, Tim and I, we both play League of Legends. We played in a match yesterday for AHGL, and we beat Zynga. So
we're going
take
to the playoffs.
Zynga, going to the playoffs.
Yes.
But all like PC gamers will play whatever's competitive if you put it in front of us.
Essentially, like, PC gamers are kind of bandwagoners. To be honest with you. At first, every StarCraft player in the world hated League of Legends. All the viewers hated it too.
And then slowly,
it just you adapt to a new game. When a new game comes out, people jump over. So
I'll try it, and then you get hooked, and then you're like, well, I suck. I want to get really better. So you play 100 games.
It's really a credit to the developers. Games are just awesome right now. Any game you play it's awesome in its own way. It's just whether or not we put it on a stage to where it can grow.
That's true, and it needs support. It's actually, I've talked about this many times, just to people in the industry, that it's a big circle of life, so to speak, for esports. You have developers, obviously, need to make the game usable. You have tournament organizers who have to present the game to the public. You have the viewers/players who need to be interested. You have the players who have to keep playing. The pros and organizations, Evil Geniuses, Complexity, Root, these guys have to keep playing or there is no product to serve. And the last little piece of the puzzle is sponsorships, because none of this is getting done for free. Everyone would lose money if that were the case. So sponsorships are kind of like the last little injection of the circle of life. So we have Razer and SteelSeries, and Raid Call is sponsoring tons of people. Azubu got some venture capital. They were buying up teams and tournaments and all that stuff. But you need every piece of that wheel. If it's lacking too much in any direction, you're not going to have a good event.
By the way, we have a really weird strategy happening here for our Zerg player. This
proxy hatch?
This is what CatZ does, man. Okay, so he's going for a lair tech, which most likely it's going to be a switch up into, it's going to be Infestors here. So he might be going straight into Swarm Host here. He's doing a proxy hatchery.
Proxy is just a term for building anything out of your base, essentially.
Yep. And at a point to where if it's scouted, it's going to get killed off pretty quickly, but it is not seen here by Minigun. Now, he did realize his opponent doesn't have a natural, and he got another scout into the main. He sees a lair, and he's going to see the infestation pit. So he can start to prepare accordingly. If he defends this, he wins. This is a very all-in strategy here for CatZ. So we'll see how he utilizes this, but I think it's going to be Swarm Host and then try and wither down his opponent. The thing is, looking into the harvesters, we have Minigun ahead, 29 to 21 harvesters, which means he can build more units over time if he just waits it out. So we'll see how it goes, but this is a really cool strategy here.
He's not going to see it still. Building vision range is very short, and the probe did not walk all the way.
When it finishes, it'll go right here. This is perfectly timed out by CatZ, to be honest.
Is it?
Yep. It's going to be
but there's going to be
right
creep.
here. Yeah, there's going to be creep.
The hatchery will pop out. There will be creep
growing.
growing.
See it there?
No, he hasn't seen it quite yet.
He's still
this
still
is
in
the
the dark.
overlord that I was looking at.
Okay, so now the pylon, we take its vision, totally sees it. There's creep. He actually can see it on the mini-map now, too, because it's just on the edge. So now Minigun needs to react to this. He might not even see it, honestly, because, people assume...
not looking for that.
People assume these pro players, they're like, oh, he should have seen that. It was on the mini-map. But he's not expecting Swarm Host, right next to his base.
Most of the time when you see a strategy, it's going to be Hydralisk. So Swarm Host could be a throw-off here, again, because players aren't really playing with Swarm Host too much. So
look how slow the Swarm Hosts are on the mini-map. They're so... Well, they're not as slow as the Queen, apparently. This is like a race between a turtle and a snail happening here.
So we got a couple more questions here. It seems like, so this is I'm Sire, C-I-R-E. He says, it seems like the Widow Mine is easy to get early and hold off all ins. Do you think it will be changed, or is there a workaround?
To be honest, at a higher level, it's actually kind of weak because of that 40-second cooldown. If you have one unit run in, you know how many Widow Mines there are, you blow them both up, and you have 40 seconds to do as much damage as you want. It's just a matter of timing. I think people are just going to get used to it. That's all it is. Like I said, when I first lost to it pretty badly, it's because I didn't know how it worked. You know how something works, you can exploit their weaknesses. And the weaknesses, it's down 40 seconds. But yeah, so this is essentially free harassment that CatZ gets to do. Oh, but with photon cannons, barely in range. But look, he brought queens and he brought a caster. Nice.
He killed a cannon. So the locusts, the little guys crawling out of the swarm host's back, they're actually ranged, so they can actually get into a position where they can all pile up and try and take out these cannons. One of them was already destroyed. They do decent damage. They're almost as powerful as a Marine. They get taken out pretty quick, but you know everything does. The cannons. These queens are at a nice range. They can just plink away at that forge, and eventually it'll go down. But Minigun at this point, trying to use the mothership core to keep his stuff safe, but at this point, these swarm hosts are doing a great job, actually, of killing off these cannons to no cost of CatZ.
Really cool strategy here from CatZ. He's got the double queens, he's got Spore Collar up, so he can defend against any anti-air. The thing that's going to beat this is Colossi Tech, which is already on the way here for Minigun. He's just buying his time here with all these photon cannons. It's just a mineral sink here.
Minerals,
Just to stay alive until he gets the tech out. Now, whether or not it's too much here for him to kill with more Colossus.
It's going to be close because now losing that gateway and losing this forge is going to set him back. He can't build any more cannons. His tier 1 unit production is basically stalled. But you see that one Colossus down in the bottom left. The Cybernetic Core is going to be one of the next targets here. And Swarm Host.
I was going to point that out. Minigun did a good job of seeing, because he scouted there was no natural up, so he hit his Cybernetic Core back so it couldn't be sieged upon, so he could get Stalkers and Sentries out. So that was a move. You normally have the Cybernetic Core here. He read his opponent perfectly.
Yeah, he said, if this is weird, I'm going to back up.
Yeah, exactly, essentially. He's like, I'm going to play very safe here and keep my important tech back.
All right, so Minigun has stabilized. You'll notice his supply is actually above CatZ, and normally Zerg wants to be ahead by a good 15 or 20 supply at all time because, you know, they've got more frail units rather than Protoss giant units. So 2 Colossi already out. He's got extended thermal lances almost done. That's that big range increase. He can just sit on top of that cliff and just zap away at these swarm hosts once that happens. So the cannons are going to provide a couple more minutes of blizzard time here for Minigun to catch up.
Look, he's going to get Neural Parasite. He's going to try and grab the Colossi when they come in forward with the investors.
Turn them on each other.
So this is all micro-intuitive. This is really cool. It's a really weird strategy from our Zerg player, and if he executes it, it's going to be the best thing ever. But Minigun does have stuff to kind of kill us off.
Here
we go, moving forward.
All right, you see the force fields getting dropped down. The force fields are going to block those queens and infestors from getting too close. The Colossi can get up on the high ground because they can just walk up and down cliffs. They're just good like that. The swarm hosts are slowly getting taken out. The locusts are going to stop being produced. And now CatZ is actually in a really tough position because Minigun played that defense so well.
By the way, as well, the Neural Parasite wasn't done in time. He hit right before. That was a small timing window he had available to him, and he was able to destroy his opponent before that upgrade got out. Really well done. Also noted by Goliath here, we are going to be doing an arcade game after this. If you want to play an arcade game, I can get off the computer.
Yeah,
sure. We'll get you a really fun one to play.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So one of our questions was from the Greenspan. Says, can we see a cool custom map settings game too, like Bunker Wars? You suggest.
Bunker Wars. We've got
we got a couple of them. What do you like, Bejeweled? Do you want to do Star Jeweled? You can play against people.
I can give it a shot.
I give you a couple of options. We have Sentry Scramble, which is essentially a weird Pac-Man game.
What's that Bomberman? Those are Bomberman.
Yeah, there's a Bomberman one, Bomberbot. They're pretty quick games. And then we have Star Destroyers if we can get 10 people, which is essentially StarCraft Soccer, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So join channel IGN on Heart of the Swarm right now. We're going to hop in as well. Adrian will probably play with us as well. So we're just going to get set on that. Great multiplayer stuff there. Minigun pulled it out there against CatZ. Unfortunately, CatZ goes 0-2 for the day. He needs to practice a little bit. Maybe practice that swarm host rush. As maybe kind of a half-brained, like let's go try this just for the stream. But maybe it could end up being a viable strategy if he can work the kinks out.
Dilio asks, how long do you think it'll take the pros to adapt to the new units and gameplay?
Not long at all, honestly.
Because again, we mentioned teams earlier. There's teams of a good 4 to 10 players that could be on a team, and they will play a new strategy out over and over and over again. And with the replay function, they can learn a new strategy and learn how to execute them and then play against them. I'm saying within a month and a half, we'll start to see a lot of metagame changes happening. Again, it moves very quickly. I actually quit casting StarCraft for 3 months because things weren't going my way. It's really hard to get into. You don't really get paid that much. If you do anything, you essentially do a lot of free work first to kind of pay your dues. And I wasn't getting anywhere, so eventually I was like, all right, I need to quit. I'm like 23 years old. I need to get my stuff together, go to college. And then a competition happened, and I got to come back. But one of those 3 months where I was gone, the game changed so much that when I came back to CatZ, I had no idea what I was talking about. It changes so quickly. So
yeah, you can.
And that's even after it had been out for quite some time.
Right. Right, that's true. And Tim's just going to try and get us into this channel
we
here.
go.
Yeah,
Totally
all you got to do is type it in there.
Bam.
And it looks like it's
There we go.
got
So
a few people.
here is the channel, guys.
The same guys we were just
Well,
playing
I
with.
showed you how to do it. You go to the main page, and then you come down to the news and community, and you just go to IGN and hit join. I know we're a little bit delayed on the stream, so we'll give it a few seconds, maybe answer a couple more questions. But once again, we can start up a custom game. No problem.
All right.
Yep.
We've got, let's see. Eric Fordham asks, what are some easy to learn strategies? I'm interested in the game, but all this terminology is confusing.
Okay,
It is very confusing.
What Team Liquid's a good place to go for build orders, but it depends on the race you want to play. If you want to do Terran, a really simple strategy to learn is a 1 Rax expand, which you go for a nice little Rax at 13, I believe, is the actual number. And then
By Rax, you mean barracks.
barracks, correct.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
There's
you go
so
barracks
much
at
terminology.
13, and then you try to get a couple of Marines on the field if you want to feel safe, and then you can get a command center. And that's just like a standard staple build that was in Wings of Liberty. And from there, you can kind of learn things as you go. You have a decent defense, and you have an economy, so it's kind of like a really middle tier build. For Zerg, 14 gas, 14 pull at a high level is kind of lame, but it's pretty good to learn off of. 14 gas, again, you put a gas down at 14 on your Vespene Geyser, you build another drone, go to 14, then build a spawning pool on 200, and then timings line up very nicely there. You can do that. So
So we'll do a Star Jewel while the people file in to
let's
channel
get you out here. You want to switch us?
Sure,
All right, man.
may as well give it a shot. What could possibly go wrong?
You could be really terrible at
Don't ruin my
Bejeweled.
score.
I am a master at this game, so
Yes.
I should be able to instruct you pretty well if
He's
you're fast
seriously the best player in the world when it comes to this game.
enough. IGN Dan versus I Feel Goliath. Jules. Jules.
So
is
if you want to go down to IGN down here on the bottom left and the next one over, over left, there you go.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever we get some players start popping in, some viewers, we'll just hit right click invite. There's no one in there quite yet, as we only have pros. If you want to invite a pro in, you can.
maybe CatZ will play. Jules has hopped in with us. But yeah, we're basically just looking for people to come play some arcade games. Star Jewel's a nice, pretty quick one. There's some that can last a really long time.
Yes, there are.
A couple of like RPG-based ones where you start as a level 1 ghost or marine or whatever it is. You run around, kill some monsters, level up. It's like basically like a Warcraft 3 campaign or something like that, where you have your hero and you're just going through a story mode. And here we actually have a final player joining. Nexus Wars. I was going to suggest we play Nexus Wars, but that can get really ridiculous.
Yeah, it can make computer lag as well.
40-minute plus games. Yeah,
It's crazy.
Nexus Wars. The premise basically is you build these structures and it just spits out units on a timer. So you build a barracks, it's going to spit out Marines on a timer. You see what your opponents are building and you try to counter it. So maybe they build a bunch of Marauders. You build something that's in the air because Marauders can't hit air. They build an anti-air unit, go back and forth, and it's a tug of war across the middle. If both teams are good enough, sometimes that turns into tons and tons of units just slamming into each other in the middle. It'll lag your computer out. It'll last an hour. It's pretty fun, but maybe not the right one for us to play here.
I think we left the IGN channel.
Oops, didn't mean to leave it.
It's all good. Just go to the main page again.
Right.
Just hit escape. Hit top left, the back arrow. And then go to the main page, and then down here in the bottom right, there we go.
Double-click
Is community.
IGN too, I think.
There you go. So click it, and then we're back
There
in.
we go. Okay.
And then you can hit return to lobby at the top center.
That button, not that button.
There you go.
Bam, there we go. And if we get this fourth person in here, we'll go ahead and start up. I'm sure Goliath will help you out with that as well.
I think he's inviting people. There we go. So
Bam.
we got 4 players.
Okay, so go ahead and
here.
start game.
All right.
Go ahead and type ready down here on the bottom left for.
Oh.
You'll have to. There we go. Click down here on the bottom left.
I'm so good.
It's all good, man.
It's a new game. It's a brand new game.
That's right.
I couldn't have known.
Question from Infamous ABO. How does someone go about getting on a competitive team, not just for StarCraft, but for any game?
Get
Well,
really good at
You
it.
got to play a
Yeah,
lot.
you gotta
First
get
of all.
really good. You gotta get noticed. I know, like in Halo, you essentially had to be a level 50. You had to be playing with the pros. You have to get noticed. You have to play in FFAs.
You got to put in the hours.
You
basically.
gotta be on forums. You gotta be in the community.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta become known in some way,
Talk to
some
people.
form.
I know this kind of a weird anecdote, but when the StarCraft 2 beta first came out, I kind of made a decision if I wanted to try and be really good at it or not. I played Warcraft 3 way too long and decided, I don't want to be that pro player. I'm going to instead try to be a personality. I'm going to make some videos and see how it goes. World of Warcraft kind of did that to me, where I wanted to be the cool guy on WoW, so I'd get invited to raids and stuff like that, and it just kind of transferred over. But if you want to be noticed and eventually join a team, you have to offer to practice with people, you have to play games and basically interact with everyone else. And eventually, you'll talk to the right people, opportunities will come up, maybe some clans will have tryouts. Usually clans having tryouts are not the best because they're just looking for more people desperately. Your energy is starting to build up. Do you see the bar below your jewels there?
I do.
You see unit stability, you can see the hotkeys to them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you've got Q for Zealot, W. It's basically QWERT just across the line.
To
there.
buy units.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you're buying units. If you want to scroll the map up here, that's
You see the
where.
fight.
Yeah. So it's like a tug of war.
Okay.
You're doing Bejeweled to build energy, to make units, to do this tug of war. You don't control the units in the middle. You just spawn them.
Right.
You can actually cast spells right down here. You can see a couple of different spells. There's Psystorm on the end. There's a warp cell will trap one unit.
You can only do it on units. You can't do it on the foot.
Yeah, so C is a time bubble that will slow them all down, but I would basically just stick to units. So keep matching all these jewels here and get some energy back up.
Yeah.
So that Ultralisk is out now. If you do get enough energy up, I know it's a high pressure situation here.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
All right, so you have enough for. Oh, you built something already?
Did not mean to push that out.
No, that's fine. Just keep matching.
Yeah, where am I going? Oh, there we go. Okay.
If you ever get lost or anything, you can't find anything for a few seconds, you can always slam Z, and that'll reset your board. Tactic guides use all the time. I'm bad at this game.
So scroll down a little bit, and we'll hit X. He's got an Ultralisk running around, or an Immortal.
I'm pushing X?
Yep.
So hit X and then click
you
the
can
Immortal.
trap that Immortal. Just click on the Immortal.
Bam, nice.
And now he can't attack for a little while. He's frozen. So there's all these other little spells that you can do. Psystorm, Time Slow, you can heal your own guys. It's a pretty fun little mini game. Generally lasts about 5 to 10 minutes for a game. And this is one actually that Blizzard created alongside Iron Chef and Left to Die, I think, is their survival game that
they have
you
a
can
bartender game that came out. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's essentially Bang the card game, but for StarCraft.
They actually didn't make that though.
Really?
That was fan made.
Featured it? Really? It's sick.
It's an amazing game.
fun.
If there's a card game called Bang that you may have played, and this is actually a Chinese team of developers made this StarCraft version of Bang, and it's really well done. You can't even tell it's StarCraft when you're looking at it.
so
The interface is totally modded. You can do so much with the Galaxy editor in StarCraft 2. You can make whatever you want. It's really cool. I think some people actually made an MMO style game too called StarCraft Universe.
Yeah.
That is pretty ridiculously well made and is worth a look for anyone who does have Heart of the Swarm.
And you can do that with Wings of Liberty too, right?
Yeah,
So
certainly. So they changed all the client over too to kind of match Heart of the Storm as well, so you can play both
oh my
games.
God, he made a ton of roaches. So
Storm
use
'em.
B, and we can storm those.
Click right on top of them.
Yep.
Bam, outplayed.
So you're thinning them
They're
out.
too
You
good.
did make some roaches too, which is great because now they're going to clean up the mess, and
Nice.
you can push forward a little bit. So Psystorm is great in Star Jeweled here if if Marines start to really pile up. Every time you make a match, you'll make a Marine just automatically, and they can really tend to pile up if you hit like a lucky string of matches and stuff. But anyone who plays Bejeweled all the time, I know tons of people do it on their phone. Check out Star Jeweled. You may not have even known it existed.
Fun, relaxing game.
I just showed my girlfriend how to play, and she's already like trying to beat me every day.
you
They're
got
full
you're
energy.
full.
So I would suggest do AW just a bunch of times, and you'll make a huge amount of Roach and Hydra.
Yeah.
And they're pretty stout. that's
Best
that's
part
what I
about
usually
this
do.
game, to be honest, is it tells you good job every time. You
Oh
feel-
yeah,
You feel so good about yourself. Good job.
great work.
We have a question from Cloud PSO7.
Go for
What do you think the reason for getting rid of units like the Warhound and abilities like the Ultralisk Brush? Warhound was just, again, it didn't fit in StarCraft.
Right. The role that they picked for it was anti-mech, and
Yeah.
there's just not a need for it. They realized pretty quickly,
snap.
and so rather than trying to tune this thing, they decided, it's basically a Marine, a much stronger Marine. Scroll up so we can
You see the battle, man. We're going to see you
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
So you're back full energy again, so you can build whatever you want.
There you go,
Colossus
nice.
is a good choice. Immortal's a good choice.
Let's see what happens.
Ultralisk Rush. Ultralisk got buffed really heavily in Heart of the Swarm. They do a decent amount of damage, and their swipe animation isn't as bad as it was in Wings of Liberty. So it was just way too strong to have Ultralisk Rush. And
Yeah,
so they had to
it
get rid of
looked ridiculous.
It was way too powerful, and it destroyed units like instantly. So sometimes things are too strong. Cool ideas. Maybe they'll have it in the campaign. I haven't gotten that far for Ultras yet, but just too strong for multiplayer.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to happen. They took the mothership out several times during the original beta, even in Wings of Liberty, and just could not figure out what abilities they wanted it to have, and we ended up with, you know, cloaking everything, mass recall, vortex, but there used to be something called the Planet Cracker that just fired tons of lasers and killed everything. They had slow time, which slowed all missiles and
if you
everything
killed them,
in
the
it.
missiles would fall down.
Yeah,
too.
and that was really cool looking, but they decided,
strong.
they decided it was just not going to work out as part of the game. So I see you've got some Marines piling up again. You may want to storm that with B. Yeah, and they're storming you guys, so they're definitely figuring that out. But you're actually keeping up pretty well. I'm looking at the score here. You get the second highest energy, so you're doing a pretty good clip here.
I played a little bit of Bejeweled.
I've played some Bejeweled in my time, you know. Wasn't on the pro circuit or anything, but I played in Latvia for a year and came back, and you know, the game's changed. Now there's Marines and Ultralisks.
If we still have time after this, we can play Star Strikers if we need 10 people. It's again Starcraft soccer. It's a lot of fun. Each unit has like their own abilities.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that Mario soccer game.
Yeah, Mario Party.
No, there was a Mario soccer game.
Oh, Mario soccer, yeah.
It was ridiculously fun. Even though I hate watching soccer, this Mario soccer was a lot of fun. So you can hit Z to just reset the board.
I got it.
Yeah,
it's under control.
Yo, let him do his thing, man.
Don't panic.
Never panic. Now it's just Marines fighting. Everyone used all their energy. You can see the bloodbath in the middle.
Yeah.
So what else from Heart of the Swarm do you think we may have missed out on? I know that obviously you can buy the game right now. It is released all over the world. You can go to battle.net and actually download the game. You just put in your credit card.
Amazon one.
Yeah, well, Amazon was going to ship it on Friday.
Dude.
Friday? Ain't no way got time for that. But you could go straight to battle.net and download the game, or the digital deluxe version, which is what I got, which has some in-game goodies, not only in StarCraft 2, but if you play Diablo 3 or World of Warcraft, there's some goodies in that digital deluxe version as well.
Did it do that?
And it looks like we had Adobe Flash players.
Norton is the problem.
But we're back on cam here. We got another.
We're back.
Oh, we're back in game here, but we're going to switch to a question as we're still on camera. So what is that question? How much do you think StarCraft will continue to grow, and what are your thoughts on more new players starting the game? That is from MC Handguide once again. Thanks for asking so many great questions, MC Handguide. We appreciate it. How much do you think it will continue to grow? What are your thoughts on more new players entering the game? Tim, you want to start off?
Well, StarCraft has the ability to constantly keep growing. First off, because we have another expansion coming out, Legacy of the Void. Heart of the Swarm again, because it has a little bit more micro-intensive spellcasters and situations that really call for you to be all over the map at once. It's going to constantly just have a huge skill cap, which is really important. It felt like that was kind of lacking in Wings of Liberty a little bit, as the foreigners are really catching up with Koreans, and that shouldn't be happening technically in standards.
Technically,
so it's going to be growing for sure in the future. New players coming in are really important. One of the best players in the world is 16 Life from StarTel.
Well, Maru is even younger than him, and he's been in Code S.
Young players are good. You got to think about it. Young players, when we were young, we had like Mario and
when we were young,
Super Nintendo and stuff. We were
all those
back in the day.
Ago.
We had games that really weren't that hard and competitive. Kids these days are now growing up with Halos, Call of Duty's, games that have multiplayer and are focused on being the best of the best.
Yeah.
They are just naturally
games where you can beat someone.
Yeah, they are sharpening their teeth to be killers essentially.
In Mario, I mean, you take the warp zone and you're like, I beat you.
Yeah,
that was so easy. I'm gonna speed run this now endlessly because I have no other games.
Yeah.
But yeah, now essentially any game you buy is gonna have some competitive aspect to it.
Yeah, younger kids are just naturally good, and they're gonna constantly be feeding into this game. As well, something to note as well, Blizzard is.
Oh, you're getting close to winning there, IGN Dan.
You got this, dude. Blizzard is now doing this thing where whenever there's a tournament, they're gonna put on the main page a stream link. So on the weekends, guys, if you log on and you see that, click it. You can watch these people play, and that will also get newer kids to play as well and keep StarCraft growing.
I
So
would use C.
Really
That's
cool
a slow bubble
function by
right
Blizzard.
on where they're spawning.
I think Dan's about to win, guys.
There you go. So that's going to slow them down as they come out, and it's going to help your units that are, traipsing across the map now. And it looks like you
My
and
units don't
Ali,
even need any help.
or you and Goliath, actually, Adrian, are on the edge of victory here. Try not to sabotage yourself here.
Oh, the Hydras.
Oh man, maybe one more slow, or I think that would help.
Man, you can't choke, man. You got to win this.
No, he's good. That
Friar.
Colossus is doing work.
Very close here.
Yeah, they've got a lot of support here now, so I think they're going to be
The
good.
Marine showing up.
Yeah, that slow bubble lasts a long time too. Oh, Zealots! That's the last ditch. That's the last ditch
that's
for
what I do. I
Star
slam Zealots
You
so
just keep spamming Q and try to make matches, and it'll spin them out one at a time, but it'll slow them down. But it looks like you are actually. Oh, you want to trap that Ultralisk with X, so he doesn't just chop you in half. There you go.
Any input on StarCraft being released on consoles, would you consider it worthy? Diablo 3 is coming. Diablo 3 can work on consoles, I feel. It's very click heavy. I played it a few times.
That was SF Beard for the question.
Thank you, SF Beard. StarCraft cannot work on a console, man. It was on Nintendo 64, and it works to get people into the game and to learn the concept of RTS and whatnot, but in terms of how much you have to do, you need a keyboard. You can't play on a console. There's essentially not enough buttons. At one point, you're hitting good 5 to 6 keys at once to maneuver around the map. You have to have a lot of hotkeys, jump around the map as well. It's cool to get people into it, but I don't really think it's going to work in terms of a competitive environment, but it's cool.
Yeah, and I agree. Basically, I don't think StarCraft is going to work on a
I
console.
played on the
It's just-
64 console.
Yeah.
Like before I came out here to
Yeah.
move to California, I went to my parents' house. We had like a moving away party.
Okay.
And they had the actual game StarCraft on 64, and I played it for like 18 seconds. You cannot do anything, man.
So you sent your minerals, your workers to go mine, and
Yep.
then that
And I was
you
like,
called
nope,
it a day.
can't do it.
You're full on energy again. You gotta make some stuff. Ghosts are great. I would do any of the low tier units like that because you can make so many of them. That's honestly my strategy with it. Because a Colossus is great, but if he gets jammed up by the prison thing, it can be tough.
You won
Aren't
the
I
game,
just
by the
gonna
way.
get stormed,
SF Beard.
though?
SF Beard is a
You
winner.
won a winner.
Very
Top man of
nice.
the game. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
I want to win a game.
Someone
Jeez.
asked if these flash issues are the issues that are from the game. I don't think
No,
so.
I think it's
It's Norton. It's
yeah,
not.
Norton.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
it's just the
it's
office
actually
security
Norton.
software.
so protective, man.
Are there any other issues regarding stability upon release? Surprisingly,
It's been really well done.
very smooth. I haven't even
we
seen
had
any lag. Or
we had one crash in
Yeah?
the campaign,
Yeah.
and I don't know what that was about. It just
It's
it was a
relatively good,
scripting.
though.
It was a scripting problem.
Was
I
it
think.
like frame rate? Did you get any frame rate issues?
It just froze.
Okay.
It was like right when
Full
the
again.
I had an audio bug where Karen kept repeating the same thing over
Really?
and over again. But that was it. I just exited out of the game. and
That's pretty
redid
funny,
it.
actually.
She kept
Yeah.
saying they will all die, and it was over and
man.
over and
No,
over.
that-
And I
that's-
was
man.
like,
that's actually
This is
the
scary.
script.
That's the script, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all she
Spoilers,
says.
guys.
oh,
Come on.
my apologies. Yeah.
She's very single-minded.
She wants people to die? I didn't know that.
So mean.
Man, I only played the first 2 missions last night. I was just tired, and I knew I had to go to work this morning, so I will definitely play through the entire thing, probably today. But last night I only got through the first couple of missions. I like the way they kind of set it up, very hand-holding to get started, but that's going to help for sure any players who don't have any experience with Zerg. And I think new players will love it. Like I said, my girlfriend got it as well. She had never played an RTS before. She's been playing against the computer, trying to figure out builds and stuff like that. She loves the campaign, loves Kerrigan. So I think new players are really going to enjoy it. And you are zapping some fools.
Yeah, what happened, man? I thought you were winning.
They were so close. They still have their cannons, though. The other team doesn't. So if they can pull back here, they'll
Who's playing, by the way?
It's Goliath and Dan versus Jules and Ali. And Jules and Ali seem to be doing quite a good job so far.
I think somebody named Jules would have an advantage in this game.
I agree. Trap that Ultralisk. Yeah.
What games since the original StarCraft 2 do you feel have influenced unit abilities or mechanics? QWOP.
Quap.
QWOP, man. You playing that game? QWOP?
What about Osu? Have you ever heard of Osu, Tim?
See, that's the thing. I came from Halo straight over to PC. So
when was that?
At the beginning of Starcraft 2.
Okay, 2010.
I was playing Halo 3, then Halo Reach came out, and I hated the game for competitive play.
Oh, no.
And MLG started doing Starcraft 2, so I hopped over.
So Osu, coincidentally, one letter away from Gosu. You're full energy again.
Yeah. I'm trying to pay attention to that.
I'm backseat star dueling.
Somebody's got to keep track of it.
Yeah, exactly. But Osu is a Flash game that you can just Google OSU, and well, probably OSU game, because if you just Google OSU, you might get something else. But
Some state university.
Ohio State, Oregon State, you know. Either way, Osu is a Flash game that's all about mouse precision. It basically plays a song. It's like DDR for your mouse, basically.
Really?
It plays a song. It's got all these different, like you have to roll a ball with your mouse at a certain time.
I think I've seen that play a few times.
You know, they're tiny little circles that appear
Nice.
in line with the beat, and it can really help with your mouse precision.
Good, Dan.
Great stuff there.
I can Bejeweled okay.
You're undefeated in Star Jeweled.
That's
it,
right.
man. You're the best custom player in the
actually
world.
the best
right.
Star Jeweled player percentage-wise.
Sounds like time to retire.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts on any game that I win the first time. But yeah, that's it for Star Jewel. It's about what time? Okay, so
I might play that later.
yeah, it's fun.
It was fun.
It is fun.
It's pretty fun, man.
And you get
It's
faster
also,
at it too.
It's pretty nice because that does help with the mechanics a little bit. Just being over your keyboard and just not looking at it and just.
Yeah, I definitely need to learn the key commands there because I wasn't doing anything with this hand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Do we
if you
have
can just
people hop in
mindlessly do it.
IGN? Maybe we can get you to play Star Strikers or
We
something.
got 10 plus.
Send messages. Oh, we got a decent amount.
I'll
of
get a
people.
decent amount. Yeah.
If you want to play a different game, we can do Century Scramble. I don't think we have enough for Star Strikers. Do you want to try that game? Or?
Yeah.
Century Scramble is a fun one. So hopefully, just ask him Century Scramble. Yes, just say yes because he just asked.
Yeah, and he'll hook you up. And then just
And
set the
he'll
invite.
go ahead and make the lobby and invite a bunch of people.
So-
But yeah, another custom game, Century Scramble. I'm gonna tell you the idea here. You start out as a sentry. Did you play much Protoss and Wings of Liberty?
Not much. Oh,
Okay,
damn
so-
it! I left the stupid thing again.
Oh,
It's
you
okay.
closed the invite?
Yeah.
Just hit
No, return to game. You're fine.
Escape. That's all you
Escape,
hit.
right.
That's the best button, and then hit arcade. There you go.
Oh, you left the channel. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so Century Scramble. It's
Alright,
all
how
about
do I get
force
back in?
fields.
Double click it. Oh, it
it's
is
down
bottom
here.
left. There you
Well,
go.
how do I get back into the lobby?
Just wait there, and he'll invite you. You're
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Or you can click IPL Goliath again at the bottom and say invite again. Okay, so Century Scramble, you're dropping force fields. Let's see, you can also blink.
Yeah,
So
there's,
if you
force
have any
fields,
Protoss
blink,
experience, you're
and
going to be
hallucination.
benefiting. But
I
sounds like you
have
don't.
very little. I actually want to switch to Protoss though.
Oh, yeah,
So,
well,
Nice.
so this will be
It's a lot of fun.
a good
Stargate member.
So-
Every game, Stargate opening.
So basically, you're going to be chased by fire. Imagine Pac-Man,
Yeah, your
basically
goal is to
Pac-Man-sized
outlast.
tunnels.
Okay.
You're running away from fire. If you drop a force field behind you, the fire will hit it and not be able to catch you.
Okay.
So you're basically just running the whole time. You get basically points for staying alive longer. After you get caught, eventually you will get caught. You'll turn into a ghost, the actual unit, the ghost, and you can EMP people's force fields. So you can mess with other people. You can hunt people down. Whoever's winning, you can chase them down and just start EMPing their force fields and try and get them eliminated as well, so you can catch up on the next round. So yeah, it looks like we
Nice.
got a
Thanks.
full house.
Also, thanks to everyone showing up in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
IGN
yeah.
chat. We appreciate it.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, appreciate it. All
Goliath
right.
says, and you run away from the exploding things. Let's go. That's pretty much it. But I think it's B and V.
It's the bottom left. It'll show you down there in hotkeys.
Okay.
And you have like 10 seconds before the fire pops. You can look at it and
Yeah.
figure out where you want to go. I think Goliath just picked this game because he wants to win it because we beat him so hard all the time in the
that's true.
office.
And
so,
other people's force fields will stop you too.
Yeah,
So
so
it
you
is
can force
possible to
field
get
and kill
trapped.
them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can force field them and get them trapped. You can get trapped as well. So it looks like F and B
F and B.
are force field and blink.
Okay.
What do you think of the division's percentage of players being changed? Will it improve the game?
That's a tricky question. So that's from Rictus64. He's basically saying, what if Bronze League accommodated less players, more people were placed in Silver, if Masters was tweaked a little bit to include more people? Honestly, I think only at the top level would it really make much of a difference.
Yeah.
It looks like
it's all
you,
good.
you got caught pretty quick, but that's
I
fine.
did not understand what was happening. So.
That's all right. So yeah, we were distracted. I'm so sorry. We let you die. But basically, now this round, you won't be able to get any more points. You don't have to run from fire anymore.
Yeah, you're on the fire
dead.
side now. You're trying to kill the other sentries so they don't get more points.
Yeah.
Yep.
So their points are ticking up. It looks like raps, and some weird name are both still alive. So you're going to try and chase them down. If they do, oh, he just got destroyed too. So that's a round. That's a round over.
So what does X do when I'm?
X?
Yeah.
X is your force field.
X is force field.
So
Wow.
you'll like hit X and then click, and that will allow you to
X is force field and C is blink.
Okay.
I don't know why it said F and B on the load screen.
All right, just run from that fire. The little thing down there, that's what's going to spit out of the fire.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh, so you may need to find a new route. Okay. Oh, that's going to blow up.
Run!
Blink.
What's
C.
I said C.
You got it.
There you
You
go.
have to C and then click to the target.
Force field behind you? Nice, now you got it.
So I would practice with a blink, maybe.
Oh, do I can only do it a couple times.
You hit C and then you click.
You just click where you want to blink,
next place.
so
Right.
let's see. Then. Oh, yeah.
So the idea here is,
Oh,
what
gotcha.
happened?
I think you get swiped from the side. Oh, and those blue flames will show up from time to time too. They're a little bit quicker. That's just so no one gets 300 points in one round.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to eliminate everyone. Everyone's trying to stalk this guy, Raps. He's got quite a lot of points.
Raps is a veteran, man.
Yeah, he clearly has played Sentry Scramble before.
So what's the X ability here?
Let's read it. I think it makes you
That's to
spawn.
put down your own
Yeah.
fire.
You
So
can
you
spawn
put it
one.
down, it'll spawn more fire.
So you can drop it in front of him, maybe?
Gotcha.
Or, it looks like it's like melee range. It's like really short range to drop.
Yeah, you just put it right in front of you, and then it'll count down and put out fire, essentially.
That was EMP, it looks like.
Oh, whoops.
Man, no one's able to stop this guy.
This guy's pro, man. Challenge him.
Oh,
there it is.
81 seconds on that round. Pretty good. All right, guys, so this is Sentry Scramble. You can find it in the Heart of the Swarm arcade, along with just dozens and dozens of other custom games. I highly advise you try out a few of them. Find one or two of them that you like. I use Starjeweled as a way to blow off steam after laddering.
Yeah.
If I lose a couple of games in a row, I can just go into Starjeweled and kind of zone out, gather myself a little bit, and then I can go back to laddering. Maybe tower defense is your thing. I know back in Brood War,
Amazing turret defense is the best.
Brood War is all I did was use map settings, UMS stuff, protect the queen, bunker defense, tower defense, anything like that, anything that was cooperative or competitive. I tried out. So,
Almost at it.
Nexus Wars is another pretty simple one to grasp. So, yeah, definitely try it out. And there are some hidden gems that are just ridiculously awesomely made that just don't have a ton of people playing them. So, try out a few things, and if you like it, you can tell your friends and just play all the time.
That's one of the best ways to get like Starcraft living. It's just people playing the customs all the time. That's what kept Brood War
It keeps
alive.
people interested because you can burn out on the ladder, you can burn out on the regular multiplayer, but if you just put the game down after that, you're shutting the door on all these crazy custom games. You walk past the bomb right as it blew up.
Yeah, it was not my best move.
Unfortunate. Yeah, Ali says not a bad game. It's pretty fun. It's with 3 people like we play. It's a lot harder.
Which game is it?
This game, Sentry Scramble.
Yeah.
It's harder with 3. It's a lot more fun with 6+. So it looks like Raps again is just dominating.
This guy just smiled when we started playing Sentry Scramble. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, he's like,
Getting
oh,
this
I'm doing
level.
that. Okay, someone asked, is that PW Guns has tweeted us, what games since the original SC2? Oh, we did answer that
we
already,
answered
sorry.
that one.
And we answered, Osu, and what did you say? You said,
I said, I had no idea. I play console
Okay.
games. Like, I came over, it took me like 2 months
yeah.
to figure out how to play on
well,
keyboard.
there are custom games too that are literally just micro training.
Yeah.
There's Micro Arena.
Micro Arena's really fun.
Stuff like that.
Micro tourneys, which you will play against one person, beat them, and then go to the next one. Pretty fun.
The StarCraft challenges that are built in. There's, I think, 20 or
There,
30
got him.
challenges that you can do. Did he win a round? Oh, he
I
finally
didn't know.
died.
Somebody got him. I didn't get
Okay,
him.
so watch out for those canisters, because
Yeah.
that's what got you last time.
Yeah, I thought I could make it by there. And
All right, so my strategy in this game is hide. Let the fire chase the other people, but it can be
I
tough.
try to force people to die. I'm really mean.
Yeah. You're an aggressive Sentry Scrambler.
Best Sentry in a.
Let's see, Goliath is doing all right. Looks like Raps is probably in the best situation still. You can look the mini-map, if you glance at it too, you can see the fire moving around at a glance as well. So you're pretty safe over here. You're pretty far from everyone else. There is one fire behind you now,
Yep.
but it's pretty far back. So you're going to get quite a lot of points on this round, I think. You did just.
We'll see about that.
You did just pass Goliath. So you're beating Adrian.
Good. That's all that matters.
Terrific.
Beat Adrian.
Yep. Now the fires are starting to start come toward you.
They're gonna get
Yeah.
faster too. So
Oh no,
blinking.
blink!
Nope.
Oh, man.
It's okay. It's okay. Rap's still alive. He might actually win on this round if he's as good as he normally is.
Yeah, he needs 40 more points. 48, right?
Yep.
You guys see it.
Oh, Raps is down.
That fire is so
Raps
fast.
is down. You have a chance still. You're up over 100, so that's not bad. You're ahead of Adrian and Ali.
Man, how'd they do worse than me that last one?
That's a good plan.
So Z is what?
Z is
It's hallucination. You'll put like a fake sentry
Whoa.
behind you. It's not really worth it. It's force fields and
You pretty
blink
much
are
want to
better.
save everything for force field and blink. You tricked that fire. He
Outplayed.
didn't know what to do. I'll go left, yeah. Oh no! Keep running.
Oh, blink. You blink. And then force field behind
There you go.
Nice.
Very good. Perfect spot. I think someone EMP'd it, but they're pretty far behind you now. Raps is gonna win. It looks like 15 more points unless something dreadful happens in the next couple of seconds. It looks like Raps is at 292, 293. You're doing a great job, Dan. I gotta say, you're living quite a long time.
Oh, but Raps is gonna win it.
But Raps is gonna win
It's first
right
to
now.
300.
First to 300.
Yeah,
As soon as he
awesome.
hits 300, he is the winner. Victory
Yes,
for
I did,
Raps.
all right.
Great job there, Dan. You didn't get last. So good job.
In Heart of Swarm, can we search to find pro player replays? Actually, you can.
In Heart of the Swarm?
Not in Heart of the Swarm itself, but like in. Okay, and on 4 websites, I
Yeah.
believe one is like Starcraft2links.com. You can watch a lot of replays that
If
are
you just
casted.
Google SC2 replays, there's tons, and TeamLiquid.net is a
Hook you
great
up.
resource for that
Yep.
too. But I think we're getting close to the end of our time here.
Yeah, I think it's about that time. But yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure having you guys here to have somebody who kind of understands everything, the hardcore aspect of this a little bit better than I do. So
It
thank
was awesome
you guys
to be on.
again.
Thank you for allowing us to come on. I mean,
Yeah, our
if
pleasure.
Yeah,
If-
very fun.
Any more questions or anything, just like hit us up on Twitter and we'll be more than welcome to
Definitely
answer
will.
anything.
Yep.
So.
You know where we're at when you get stuck in the campaign. It's okay. It happens to everybody.
I think I can probably handle the campaign. I'm
Good,
going to
good.
go out on a limb and say that's not going to give me too much trouble.
Awesome.
But I am an RTS player from way back. So yeah,
Excellent.
way back to the original CNC and Warcraft. So
All right.
I think I got this.
Well, good luck with it. I'm going to be playing it myself. Can't wait.
Tonight.
Can't wait to see how the
That's what
story
we'll be on.
unfolds.
Great.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks very much.
I think.